Chapter 904. In addition to the Lu family, the Tumulus of Universe, the Great Buddhist Temple, and the Pavilion of Delicacy took actions as well. The Palace of Immortals Inquiries and the other two forces followed suit when they heard that Luli was looking for treasures. They delivered a large number of items. When Luli was injured, the three forces did not do much. But they were watching coldly and were ready to make a move. Lu Ling had told Luli about this. Luli did not say anything. This was human nature. It was normal for the three forces to consider for themselves. Of course, it was impossible for Luli to be nice to them. Therefore, Luli had people to accept the mystical materials and treasures the three forces sent. The three leaders wanted to see him, but he did not meet any of them. In half a month, all kinds of strange herbs and materials of the great land had been collected. Luli had people move them out of the city, and then let the dragon demon out. Tens of thousands of mystical materials were placed in a row. Many young Xian beasts were tied up with demon trapping chains. The dragon demon was placed in an open space with a radius of 3 miles. Hoot, hoot! The dragon demon was let out. Luli pointed at the mystical materials and pointed at the dragon demon. The dragon demon could understand without Little White's explanation. The dragon demon took a careful look but did not pay much attention to many of the items. Luli and the others were disappointed. Almost half of the treasures of the great land were gathered here. If there was nothing here that the dragon demon was interested in, Luli would not know what to do. What? All of a sudden, the dragon demon stopped looking around and fixed its gaze on a golden ball. The dragon demon bit off the ball, chewed it twice, and swallowed it. Good! Luli's eyes glowed. He yelled at once, "What did it eat?" Great-grandfather 5 pulled a long face. He had a record of all the mystical materials and treasures here. Naturally, he knew what that golden ball was. He forced a smile and said, "Luli, that is the egg of the Myeming bird." "Bird egg?" Luli was surprised. But he noticed the look on Great-grandfather 5's face. Luli asked with hesitation, "Great-grandfather 5, why are there so few eggs?" "No." Great-grandfather 5 shook his head with a forced smile. "They are extinct. The eggs have been here for thousands of years. The Myeming bird went extinct thousands of years ago." Luli's excitement dropped to the bottom. After a pause he asked again, "Are they really extinct? Could a similar bird be found? What kind of bird is the Myeming bird?" Great-grandfather 5 waved his hand. An patriarch immediately ran to the city of mystic armor. Apparently, he was going to search for information about the Myeming bird. The dragon demon took a look, but was not interested in the remaining mystical materials. Luli had to put away the dragon demon and led everyone back to the city of mystic armor. When Luli entered the mystic armor mountain, a pile of materials was placed on his desk. Luli didn't flip through them but asked directly, "Don't show me the materials. I just want to know if you can find bird eggs of the same attribute." "I'm afraid that will be very difficult," the outer clan elder said with a bitter smile. "The Myeming bird has 2 innate magical powers. It can release water and fire. It belongs to the category of yin and yang birds. It's almost impossible to find a bird with the exact same attribute." "Yin-yang?" Luli was deep in thought. Dragon demon liked to eat young boys and girls. What was wrong with young boys and girls? Wasn't it just primordial yin and primordial yang? Would the dragon demon eat the egg of the Myeming bird? There must be energy of yin and yang in the egg. Go and find it. Do everything you can. Having reached this conclusion, Luli was more confident. He ordered, "Go and find beasts or elixirs with yin and yang energies. If anyone can find food for the dragon demon and grow it on a large scale, I will give him a large region." A large region? The Hall of Patriarchs was in an uproar. The entire great land would go crazy if word of this got out. A large region could represent at least a 5th or 6th rank family. Any warrior that occupied a large region would be able to develop his family in a few decades. Many warriors would come to him. Lu Li shared his thoughts. Great-grandfather 5 and the others gave out orders to search for treasures with yin and yang energy all over the world. The entire great land was stirred up when the news spread out. Finding food for the dragon demon would be equivalent to gaining a large region. Many people took action. They searched for elixirs and strange xian beasts all over the world. Even if they could only find 1 or 2 xian beasts of a certain type, as long as the dragon demon could eat them, they could try their best to breed more. One bird after another was sent over. How large was the great land? How many birds were there? The number was immeasurable. The teleportation formation at the City of Mystic Armor was glowing constantly. Lu Li gave out an order that anyone who sent gifts could use the teleportation formation for free in just 10 days. Countless things had been sent over. There were thousands of different kinds of flying beasts. The Lu family disciples were so busy that they lost their heads. The population of the City of Mystic Armor had increased by over 1 million recently. The Lu family had enough work to do to settle down so many people. Lu Li took the dragon demon out again. However, the dragon demon was not interested in any of the thousands of birds. Those birds were nothing in common with the Mieming bird. As for the other xian beasts and mystical materials, the dragon demon was not interested. Lu Li was disappointed, and so were the warriors who came to deliver the gift. Many people were filled with hope. They wanted to get that region, but their efforts were in vain. That being said, the Lu family did offer some compensation so that their efforts would not be in vain. The Lu family was now rich and overbearing, and the gifts they gave out satisfied many people. It could be said that this trip was not in vain. More people came. Lu Li did not show up. He asked the Lu family to gather together. When the number of gifts reached a certain level, he would let the dragon demon have a look. He was confused about Little White. It had been days since Little White came back. That being said, Patriarch 8 was with Little White and Little White was strong. Lu Li was not worried. Lu Li spent time with Jiang Qiling, Bai Qiushue, and Bai Xiaoshuang. Every now and then, he would cultivate. His body was recovering. Lu Ling teleported to the deserted world to cultivate. She was trying to reach the Earth Immortal Realm. Lu Xingyang was in charge of the demon-slaying city, and great-grandfather 5 was in charge of the Lu family. She could not help Lu Li, and it was boring to stay here. Lu Li began to study the second line diagram. The first one gave him a feather wind castle. He was looking forward to what the second one would bring him. 5 days later, Lu Li's cultivation was interrupted. He heard some urgent noises coming from the castle. Lu Li frowned. Nobody would disturb him if it was nothing serious. He said he would stop cultivation in half a month. He stood up, opened the inhibition formation of the castle, and walked out. As soon as he opened the door, he saw 3 pairs of tearful eyes. Lu Li's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling. He asked, "What is going on?" "Darling," Bai Qiushue cried, "Sister Lu Ling is in trouble." Boom. Lu Li trembled and almost fell to the ground. It was as if he had been struck by lightning. It took him a long time to come back to his senses. Didn't Lu Ling go back to the Inferno? She had 2 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves with her. Who could hurt her? Could it be the surviving forces of the major families? Taking a deep breath, Lu Li forced himself to calm down and asked, "What is it? Tell me." "We don't know the details." Chapter 905. For Lu Li, Lu Ling was everything. Compared to her, Lu Renhuang and Lu Xingyang were not as important to him. Jiang Qiling, Bai Xiaoshuang and Bai Qiushue knew better than anyone else how deeply Lu Li loved Lu Ling. Jiang Qiling and the twins knew very well what Lu Ling had gone through when she was little. Not only did they admire her from the bottom of their hearts, they also liked her very much. Lu Ling was as cold as the winter snow to her enemies, but she doted on her own people to the extreme. Jiang Qiling, Bai Qiushue, and Bai Xiaoshuang were Lu Li's women. Lu Ling was fond of them, and she wished she could give them all the good things in the world. Therefore, after receiving the message from Mingyu, Jiang Qiling and the other two came to Lu Li in a hurry. However, the three of them did not know the specifics because Mingyu did not come over. It was said that he was injured and had only sent one of his subordinates to report it. Mingyu had always been in charge of the Inferno prison in the desolate world. Mingyu married Lu Feishue and had a high status in the Lu family. The most important thing was to be approved by Lu Li and Lu Ling. Only then could he manage the deserted world and the Inferno. Go! Lu Li didn't want to waste any more time since he couldn't find out anything. He led the three of them out of the castle. Great-grandfather Five and a group of patriarchs of the Lu family were waiting outside. Lu Li threw them a glance and left. Great-grandfather Five, keep the news under control. Take care of things here. Buzz. Lu Li took the three of them to the teleportation formation at the Eastern Sea and then entered the deserted world. This was the entrance to the hot spring in the deserted world. There was also a huge manor built by Lu Li for Jiang Qiling and the twins. Tens of thousands of soldiers were stationed here all year round, and no one was allowed to approach without reason. Saint Lord. The warriors here were from ancient races and the leader was a patriarch of the Hag race. They bowed to Lu Li. How is the deserted world doing? Where is Mingyu? Lu Li asked coldly. The deserted world is very stable. The Yuksha elder replied cautiously. The situation in the Inferno has been stabilized. Lord Mingyu is in the Inferno. Activate the teleportation portal. Lu Li asked no more questions. He stepped into the teleportation formation and teleported to the entrance to the Inferno. There was an army here as well. Lu Li took a look to make sure that everything was fine before he entered the Inferno. A small city was built in the former base camp of the Inferno. Several castles were built here for Lu Li, Lu Ling, and Mingyu. Buzz. As soon as Lu Li came out, he built the Feather Wind Castle in case of sneak attack. He scanned the area with his divine telekinesis, and after confirming that the situation was stable and there were no enemies, he let go of his guard. Master Li. Saint Lord. Young Master. Many came over and dropped to one knee in front of Lu Li. There were many familiar faces here, but Lu Li was in no mood to greet them. He used psychic power to check on Mingyu, who was in a manor. That manor was where Lu Li and the others lived. Many buildings in the manor had collapsed. Lu Li also found bloodstains in many places. Many people must have died here. Mingyu's situation was not good. Most of the bones in his body were broken, but he did not faint. At the moment, he was lying on the bed. Ding Gue and the others were treating him. Lu Feishue was sitting at the side with tears in her eyes. Let's go. Lu Li and the other three flew to the manor. Lu Feishue and the others were startled. They hurried over. Lu Feishue could not stop her tears. Choking, she said, Lu Li, Linger has been taken away. Save her, save her. Lu Li and the other two went to comfort her. Lu Li turned to Mingyu and asked, Can you talk? Young master. Mingyu sat up, clenching his teeth. Taking a deep breath, he said, I failed to protect Lady Ling. I am guilty. What are you talking about? Lu Li said coldly, Get to the point. Who took my sister? Where are they now? I don't know. Mingyu shook his head and said, Those three suddenly appeared. Our scouts didn't manage to find any information about them. Those three are too strong. I was directly suppressed by their aura to the point that I couldn't move. My bones were shattered and some people were even killed. The three of them tore apart the void and left with Lady Ling. I don't know where they went. Pressure? Tore apart the void? Lu Li was taken aback. Mingyu was at the human sovereign realm. Not even semi-god realm warriors could break Mingyu's bones with their energy. Tore apart the void and left? Apart from the Asmodeans, Lu Li had never heard of any other powerful warriors of the Heaven Reverse universe that could sneak into the void. What was more, if those three wanted to take Lu Ling away, they could just fly away. There were not many powerful warriors in the Inferno. Who could stop them? Lu Li never let those Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves into the Inferno for fear that they would be killed by the laws in the purgatory of primordial chaos. Therefore, there were no Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves in the Inferno. Mingyu had told him that the three powerful warriors were at least at the Earth Immortal Realm and possibly at the Semi-God Realm. Why would they need to hide when they could take Lu Ling away? Are they from the Mage Imperial Universe or the other universes? A glint of coldness rose in Lu Li's eyes. His first thought was that warriors from the 9 universes had arrived in advance. They sneaked into the Inferno and kidnapped Lu Ling, threatening him to give up the wicked bead. "Someone, get some painters here," Lu Ling shouted. The ones outside left to make arrangements. Soon, several old warriors came in. Lu Li said to Mingyu, "Describe the three in detail and let the painters draw them." Lu Li left after he gave his orders. A patriarch of the Cyan Phoenix race was waiting for him. Lu Li stared at him coldly and asked, "Do you have any clues?" "No." The patriarch of the Cyan Phoenix race answered with doubt, "There is no trace. It seems that the three came from the sky and then disappeared from the Inferno. I have looked into it. The teleportation tunnels to the deserted world and the Inferno have not been touched. It is impossible for the three to enter the Inferno without a trace. Also, we have people guarding the towering mountain, and there are inhibition formations set by the Shadowland race. There is no trace either. Nobody came down from the towering mountain." "How is that possible?" Lu Li said in disbelief. "To enter the Inferno, one had to either come down from the towering mountain or enter from the deserted world. There was no trace on either side. Could the three have torn open the void and entered the Inferno?" The patriarch of the Cyan Phoenix race was not to be doubted. Lu Li was confused. He waved his hand and said, "Send a message to Yi Cha at once. Get all the powerful warriors of the Cyan Phoenix race here. Do not miss any trace." "Yes." The patriarch of the Cyan Phoenix race bowed. The painters had drawn several portraits according to Mingyu's description. Lu Li compared them and found that they were similar. The three of them were all men. One of them looked young and had an imposing appearance, showing off his abilities. The other two looked like family guards. All three of them were wearing snow-white, gorgeous battle armor. The young master who showed off his talent was even more overbearing, leaving a deep impression on people. "Send the portraits to the deserted world and the Cloud Mist City." Lu Li waved his hand and handed the portraits to Wu Feng, Brother 7 of Feng, and other Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves to identify. If they were warriors from the 9 universes, they could recognize them right away. Lu Li didn't go out. He looked at Mingyu and asked, "What happened? What did they say? They can't just take my sister away without saying anything." "They did." Mingyu pondered for a moment, but his eyes were filled with confusion. He narrated, "That young master seemed to have said, 'After more than 20 years, I've finally found you? P.S. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Everything is going well. Happy New Year. We have a day off on New Year's Day. Today we will write 3 chapters. Chapter 906. More than 20 years? They finally found you? Lu Li was astonished. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiushua looked at each other, surprised as well. If Mingyu didn't hear wrongly, then this matter was too strange. Lu Ling was only born more than 20 years ago. Did this young master know Lu Ling when she was born? Judging from Mingyu's tone, this young master was not old. How could he know Lu Ling more than 20 years ago? How could he have been looking for her for more than 20 years? Lu Li's eyes flickered. He asked, "That's it? Just one sentence?" Mingyu nodded and said, "The three of them came out of nowhere and locked onto Lady Ling at once. They said one sentence and then touched her. She passed out. The young master carried Lady Ling in his arms, and they tore open the void and left. Apart from me, some other warriors saw it. Some servants and maids in the manor saw it as well. But they were crushed to death by the three. It was simple and sudden. The three came out of nowhere and took Lu Ling away in an instant. They didn't make a big fuss or kill anyone. Those servants and maids were suffering from an unexpected calamity. The three experts probably didn't want anyone to disturb them, so they directly released their aura to suppress them. The maids and servants were too weak, so they were instantly crushed to death. They could break more than half of the bones of Mingyu, a warrior of the human sovereign realm, with just their qi and energy? Suppressing so many maidservants to death? What kind of power was that? Not even a semi-god realm warrior could do that. It didn't seem like the three did it on purpose. What was more, the young master was so young. Lu Li put on a solemn expression and his eyes were filled with confusion. He sent someone to ask some warriors at the scene, not because he didn't trust Mingyu, but because he wanted more information. When that person went out, he got the same information. Apart from those in the manor, the warriors outside didn't even have time to check in. They only felt three powerful qi and energy, and then Lu Ling was taken away. Lu Li paced up and down in the room. He couldn't get anything out of them, and there was nothing he could do. The patriarchs of the Cyan Phoenix race had sent out many scouts to gather information. Lu Li couldn't search all over the world. Whoosh, an hour later, a chief steward of the Lu family came in. He showed the portrait of the painter to the Earth Immortal Realm's sole slave. The chief steward whispered to Lu Li, "Young Master Li, Brother Seven of Feng and Wu Feng have seen the portrait. They are adamant that the three are not warriors of the 9 universes. They said that they know all the Earth Immortals and semi-god realm cultivators in the 9 realms. If these three are really that powerful, they are definitely not from the 9 realms." This, Lu Li was even more confused. If they were not from the 9 universes, then where were the three mysterious warriors from? Could it be that there were other powerful realms other than the 9 realms? Qiling, come with me. Since they could not get any information from here, Lu Li decided to teleport them out of the deserted world and then to the serene cloud city at the entrance of the Serenity Plains. The purpose of this city was to protect this entrance. At present, the city was very prosperous. At any rate, there were several earthly immortals standing guard at all times. Thus, this place was the safest. Young Master, there were 3 Earth Immortal Realm warriors guarding here. Brother Seven of Feng and Wu Feng had come back. They were in the Serene Cloud City. As soon as Lu Li showed up, they gathered around. Lu Li asked the chief steward to leave and went into a secret room with the 3 Earth Immortal Realm warriors. Holding the portrait in his hand, Lu Li asked, "Are you sure that the 3 are not from the 9 universes? What if the 3 of them are hidden experts from a large clan?" "Impossible." Wu Feng shook his head. "There are moles among the families in the 9 universes. We have a clear picture of each family. We can even recognize an ordinary human sovereign at a glance, let alone an expert of the Earth Immortal Realm. The 9 universes are large but small at the same time, because there are only a few major families. Moles." Lu Li was convinced now. There were human moles among the Asmodeans, the Feather race, the Barbarian race, and the Voodoo race in the Heaven Reverse universe. Basically, the situation there was under control. For example, the number of powerful Asmodeans could be found out through the moles. Lu Li thought about it and asked another question. Are there other powerful universes outside the 9 universes? For example, the Heaven Reverse universe is connected to the Inferno and the 9 universes are connected to the Prison of Gold. What if there are powerful universes connected to the Prison of Ice, Prison of Wind, Prison of Darkness, or even Prison of Soul and Prison of Thunder? No, Brother Seven of Feng shook his head. The 9 universes have always had powerful warriors exploring the Prison of Ice, Wind, Darkness, and Soul. For 1,000,000 years there have been powerful warriors going there. If there are powerful warriors from other universes, how can we not know about it? Lu Li understood, but he was even more confused. The three powerful warriors were not from the 9 universes or other universes. Were they from the divinity? Jiang Qiling had been listening for a long time. She happened to have the same thought as Lu Li. She asked in surprise, "Are they from the divinity?" Divinity? Wu Feng and the others had learned something about Lu Ling. The three of them shook their heads. Lu Li said with a forced smile, "The warriors from the divinity have to pay a heavy price to come down. If they could come back, Emperor of Heaven Reverse would have come back a long time ago." "Yes," Wu Feng added. "Madam Ling, you don't know. Emperor Heng passed away as soon as he came back. Many warriors from the 9 universes ascended to the divinity, but none came back. One of our Wu family warriors ascended to the divinity. He sent a message back through a powerful skill. To come back, one must become a super mighty warrior in the divinity, or else he cannot go down." "Someone from the Wu family has ascended to the divinity?" Lu Li was impressed by the Wu family. Jiang Qiling blinked her foxy eyes and said nothing. Bai Xiaoshuang said timidly, "What if the three are super mighty warriors in the divinity? What if they are from a super family in the divinity? Can they go down to the divinity?" Lu Li and Wu Feng looked at each other. They were shocked. That was a possibility. If they were from a super family in the divinity, they could go down easily. Lu Li thought about it. All of a sudden, he asked, "Wu Feng, you know the semi-god realm well. I have a question. If a powerful semi-god realm warrior can crush a human sovereign realm warrior's bones with his energy and spirit alone?" "Absolutely not," Wu Feng answered without thinking. "Spirit is only a mental pressure. Spirit alone can scare someone to death or make them bleed from their eyes, ears, nostrils, or their heart and soul pond explode. Not even warriors at the peak of the semi-god realm can crush a human sovereign realm warrior's bones with spirit alone." "Can it be?" An unbelievable thought came to Lu Li's mind. He murmured, "Are those three really from the divinity? Otherwise, how can they come and go without a trace? How can they be so powerful? So strange?" "But," Bai Qiushua frowned, "my sister grew up at the northern desert and she has been in the Heaven Reverse universe. How can she know someone from the divinity? Also, it has only been more than 20 years since my sister was born. That young master said he has been looking for my sister for more than 20 years? That doesn't make sense." "It makes sense." Lu Li thought of another hypothesis. He sighed and said, "If I am right, it makes sense. Of course. I need my father to come back and confirm it." Bang. Chapter 907. Yi Cha came as soon as he received the message. He came with all the patriarchs of the Cyan Phoenix race. There were many things to deal with at the ancestral lands of the two races. That being said, for Yi Cha, Lu Li was of the utmost importance. How could he not take it seriously? Yi Cha took over the investigation. Lu Li gave him the most authority. Yi Cha mobilized many powerful warriors to the Inferno to search for any traces. Days passed on. There was no progress. Lu Li was getting more and more impatient. It was as if Lu Ling had vanished from the world. The three powerful warriors seemed to have fallen from the sky. There was no clue. As time went on, Lu Li became more and more desperate, just like when he was at the Wu Ling County. Back then, things were better. He watched Lu Ling being taken away by Ghost Snake Granny, but at least he knew who took her away. He could figure out a way to find her and save her. But at the moment, he had no idea how Lu Ling and Lu Ling went missing. Where was she now? How could he save her? Lu Ren Wang must be on his way back. But even at his top speed, it would take him at least 2 months. During this time, Lu Li was restless, not to mention sleeping and cultivating. Jiang Qiling and the others were with him every day. He could not calm down and cultivate. Half a month later, Yi Cha finally had the courage to come and see Lu Li. Lu Li's eyes glowed with anticipation. However, Yi Cha looked awful. He dropped to one knee, not daring to look up at Luli. He said, "Saint Lord, I am useless. I did not find any clues." The three seemed to have appeared out of thin air and then disappeared. There was no trace left. "I have searched the inferno and the deserted world. I have mobilized many people to search the central plains, but nothing has been found. Saint Lord, Yicha is useless. Please punish me." Silence. Luli said nothing. He closed his eyes and waved his hand to let Yicha go. He knew that if Yicha could not find any clues, then nobody in the world would be able to find Lu Ling. It had been such a long time. If the enemies were here for him, they would have sent someone to talk to him. If that was the case, Luli would be delighted. He would give the wicked bead to the enemies without hesitation as long as it could save Lu Ling's life. It had been such a long time, but the enemies did nothing. The only explanation was that the three of them were here for Lu Ling. As for how the three of them could be related to Lu Ling, that was something only Lu Renhuang could answer. Luli asked everyone to leave. He stayed in the castle for 3 days and 3 nights. He didn't leave the castle until he received a message from the Mystic Armor City. Great-grandfather 5 sent word that Whitey had returned with 8th Elder and some strange beast eggs. Xiao Bai led the 8th Elder through mountains and rivers. After walking for an unknown distance, they finally stopped in the southeast of the Central Plains. Then, Little White asked Patriarch 8 to bring back some strange eggs. Patriarch 8 suspected that Little White was looking for food for the dragon demon, so he asked Luli to take a look. How could Luli be in the mood to watch this? He didn't want to leave at all, fearing that Lu Ling would show up all of a sudden or the enemies would send him a message. He only asked Yicha to send a message for 8th Elder to bring Little White in. Then, he entered the castle alone. Jiang Qiling and the others noticed that Luli had lost weight. They felt sorry for him, but at the same time, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to comfort Lu Ling. Lu Ling was too important for Luli. Several days later, Patriarch 8 came along with Lu Xingyang and Great-Grandfather 5. Lu Xingyang had been informed. However, he had too many things to deal with at the demon-slaying city and at the ocean land of the east. He only had time to come back today. Luli asked Jiang Qiling and the others to receive Lu Xingyang while he led Patriarch 8 to a spacious place in the inferno. Then, he said, "Take out the beast eggs." Usually, Xian beasts would give birth directly. Rarely would they lay eggs. After all, Xian beasts were not birds. Little White squeaked. Patriarch 8's interspatial ring glowed as he took out more than a dozen eggs with black and white patterns. Buzzing, Luli let the dragon demon out. As soon as the dragon demon came out, it noticed the dozen eggs. The dragon demon swallowed all of them in a flash. The dragon demon's eyes were filled with greed. It looked around and saw that there were no more eggs. Then, it turned to Luli begging. "Okay." This was the best piece of news for some time. Luli's eyes lit up. He ignored the dragon demon and asked Patriarch 8, "What kind of beast are these eggs?" "Fey beast." Patriarch 8 was excited. He explained, "This is a kind of beast that lives in swamps. It has 1 head, 2 bodies, 4 wings, and 6 legs. This kind of Xian beast is not of a high rank, only of the 6th rank. But in the swamps, it is strong. Outside, however, it is not so strong." Luli did not mind. He got to the point. Can this kind of beast be bred in captivity? If possible, capture a batch and provide them with unlimited food so that they can reproduce quickly. I need a large number of Fey beast eggs. "I think so," Patriarch 8 explained. "There are many Fey beasts in that swamp. But there is a beast king in the swamp. I think if we can kill the beast king and then capture a large number of low-rank Xian beasts, the Fey beasts will have no natural enemies. With enough food, they can reproduce quickly." "That will do." Luli thought about it and said, "Go to the Central Plains and look for similar terrains. Take as many as you can find." Then, throw some fey beasts into the swamp and provide them with endless food. Send warriors to guard the swamp and make sure that the fey beasts are not attacked. As long as there are eggs, send them over immediately. You can build some teleportation formations. Do as you see fit. I will leave this to you. Ask Great-Grandfather 5 to cooperate with you. All in all, I need a large number of eggs. Got it. Patriarch 8 understood the importance of this matter. That powerful beast that made him tremble was Lu Li's spiritual beast. When trained well, the beast could play a significant role in the future. Patriarch 8 decided not to worry about Lu Ling. Lu Jingyang was here, and there was not much Patriarch 8 could do. He had better finish Lu Li's task first. Patriarch 8 left. Lu Li was relieved. At least, the dragon demon's food was found. It seemed that the dragon demon liked it, even more than the eggs of the Mieming bird. When the dragon demon was trained well, Lu Li would be able to deal with the powerful warriors from the 9 universes. Chapter 908. The cultivation of food for the dragon demon went well. There were many fey beasts in the swamp, thousands of them. The Lu family sent out several Earth Immortal Realm warriors to capture many fey beasts and send them to selected swamp. Many low-level Xian beasts were sent to the swamps. The fey beasts did not show any signs of discomfort. Soon, the fey beasts settled down. A high wall was built outside the swamp. Usually, warriors were stationed there and nobody was allowed to get close. Many forces were suspicious, thinking that the Lu family was up to some secret plan. The fey beasts were in a new place. As long as they could adapt to the new environment, they would have no natural enemies and they would have enough food. The fey beasts would breed quickly. After all, they would eat and sleep every day. Naturally, they would grow fast. The fey beasts were not of a high rank, so they could breed fast. The higher the rank of the Xian beasts, the harder it would be to breed. Patriarch 8 was not worried about this. In a few months there would be a large number of eggs. Patriarch 8 thought about it and decided to build some spirit-gathering formations in the swamp. In this way, the fey beasts could grow faster. Lu Li did not care about what was going on. He cultivated in the inferno by himself. He did not want to cultivate. He just did not want others to see him in such a sad state. He wanted to use cultivation to forget his sorrow. Lu Li, who was immersed in his sorrow, was cultivating at a fast pace. He could learn one small diagram every 10 days. He did not engrave them into his bead of life. Instead, he studied them one by one. When all the diagrams were finished, he would engrave them into his bead of life. Last time, Lu Li was at a disadvantage when he studied the big diagram of the Feather Wind Castle. He engraved one small diagram after another. As a result, he could not integrate the last one. Now, he planned to study a big diagram and then engrave them into his bead of life at the same time. In this way, he would not be able to integrate the last one. Time flew by in cultivation. Soon, 2 months passed. In 2.5 months, Lu Li had learned 7 small diagrams. Even he was shocked by his speed. During this time, Yi Cha had been searching for Lu Ling but to no avail. But one thing was for sure. Lu Ling was not taken away by warriors of the 9 universes. Otherwise, she would have come out to threaten Lu Li. The cultivation of the fey beasts had been going well. At present, the number of fey beasts had multiplied a lot. In addition to the fey beasts found in the Qing province of the High Continent, the number of fey beasts raised by the 8th Patriarch had reached 30 to 40,000. In a few months' time, the number of fey beasts would double. By then, the dragon demon would be able to collect more eggs. The illusory formation on the sky-reaching mountain of the Inferno prison was triggered. The elders of the Heavenly Illusion tribe who were guarding here were startled immediately. After scanning with their divine thoughts, they all knelt down on one knee and opened the illusory formation. Finally, Lu Renhuang was back. He went to ask the patriarch of the Shadowland race at once. When he learned that Lu Ling had been taken away, he pulled a long face. He didn't say anything and quickly flew toward the base camp. Lu Renhuang had not reached the semi-god realm yet, but he was powerful. Based on the judgment of the patriarch of the Shadowland race, Lu Renhuang should be at the peak of the Earth Immortal realm, one step away from the semi-god realm. The prison of ice was indeed a holy land for Lu Renhuang to cultivate. Several days later, Lu Renhuang arrived at the base camp. Jiang Qiling, Ming Yu and the others went to greet him. Lu Feishue was in tears. Jiang Qiling woke Lu Li up. He welcomed Lu Renhuang into the inner hall and then asked everyone to leave. Lu Li didn't want anyone to know what was going to happen next. When Lu Li opened the inhibition formation, Lu Renhuang looked at Lu Li with a bitter smile and said, "You have guessed something?" Of course. Lu Li pulled a long face at once. He looked up at Lu Renhuang and said, "I have guessed it, but I still find it hard to believe. My sister and I look alike. Also, if she is not my sister, why didn't anyone at the Delong tribe say anything about it?" If Jiang Qiling and the others could hear their conversation, they would be shocked. Lu Li said that Lu Ling was not his sister? In other words, Lu Ling was not his biological daughter. She was adopted. Lu Li asked Lu Renhuang to come back just to verify this point. Lu Li had this speculation because of what the young warrior who took Lu Ling said, "I have found you after 20 years. More than 20 years ago, Lu Ling was just born. Who would look for her for more than 20 years? The only explanation was that it was Lu Ling's family or people. The powerful warrior who took Lu Ling away looked young. But the slayer looked young as well. If a warrior could reach a high realm and have a long life when he was young, then his looks wouldn't change even after he was more than 100 years old. Take Lu Li as an example. His looks wouldn't change much even after he was 100 years old. He could live for thousands of years now. Compared to thousands of years, 100 years was too short. In other words, the young man who took Lu Ling away might be Lu Ling's family or even a senior. Otherwise, he wouldn't have searched for Lu Ling for more than 20 years. Therefore, Lu Li could infer that Lu Ling might not be Lu Li's sister. Therefore, he contacted Lu Renhuang at once to ask for confirmation. But there was one thing that Lu Li couldn't figure out. If Lu Ling was not Lu Li's biological daughter, then why didn't anyone at the Delong tribe say anything? Lu Renhuang explained, "When Linger was born, your mother and I were in the ice abyss. I had recovered a bit, but I needed some elixirs. Because I was afraid that the enemy would kill your mother, I took her to the periphery of the ice abyss. We spent more than a year there. After I had completely recovered from my injuries, I took your mother and your sister back to the Delong tribe, so no one in the tribe suspected." No wonder. Lu Li understood. Then, he asked in confusion, "Could it be that my sister was born at the periphery of the ice abyss? Where is her mother? Did you see her?" "No." Lu Renhuang shook his head and said, "When we passed by, your sister was alone in the snow. She was naked. Clearly, she was just born, but she didn't cry or make a fuss. She was very well behaved." "Just born? And no clothes? How is that possible?" Lu Li was shocked. The ice abyss was covered in snow all year round. How come a newborn didn't freeze to death in such cold weather? And she didn't cry or make a fuss? Nothing is impossible. Lu Renhuang sighed. He looked at Lu Li's neck out of instinct and said, "Didn't you ask me where I got that animal tooth pendant? Animal tooth chain?" Lu Li was taken aback. He asked with confusion, "Didn't you say that it is a treasure left by Emperor of Heaven Reverse? Don't tell me it's sister's?" "That's right." Lu Renhuang nodded and said, "Actually, this animal tooth pendant belongs to your sister. She was naked and the only thing she was wearing was this animal tooth pendant. Maybe it's because of the animal tooth pendant that she didn't freeze to death?" Oh, Lu Li trembled. He put on an unnatural expression and said, "Since it belongs to my sister, why did father give it to me? You lied and said it was a treasure left by Emperor of Heaven Reverse?" I lied because I don't want your sister to be sad. Lu Renhuang explained, if your sister had not been taken away, I would have kept this a secret for the rest of my life. After so many years, your sister's family never came looking for her. I thought they wouldn't come. So, I want to keep this a secret. Otherwise, if your sister finds out, she will be very sad. After all, her parents abandoned her when she was young. P.S. I strongly recommend the new book, The Demon Slayer Contract, by Xiao Ran of the Vast Waves. This book is about a young exorcist, Tianming, who signed a contract with the underworld for money. He participated in the operation to capture and kill ghosts in the world of the living. From then on, he embarked on the path of a powerful man. Beautiful women would surround him, and even immortals would bow to him. PS2. It's a new month. Everyone has a guaranteed monthly vote. Now, it's double monthly vote. If you vote for one, you will get two. Please vote for Dragon Emperor of Eternal Destruction. Don't worry about the missing chapters. I will make up for them after the annual assembly. Luli cupped his fists and thanked. Chapter 909. As for the animal tooth pendant, Lu Renhuang was lost in his memories. He said with a pained expression, "You were just born and I had to take your mother to treat her wounds. Your sister was only 4 years old. How could I not worry about you? So, I took the animal tooth pendant from her neck and gave it to you. I knew that the animal tooth pendant was valuable and it could save your life at a critical moment. I see, all the mysteries were solved. Lu Ling was not his sister. She was not kidnapped. She must have been taken away by her family, or else Ming Yu would not have only broken bones. All the warriors in the inferno would have perished." Lu Li said nothing. A moment later, he asked, "Didn't you look for her parents? She can't have fallen from the sky, can she? Did she not have any family nearby?" "No." Lu Renhuang said with certainty. "I wandered around for 3 days and searched everywhere. There was nobody and no clue. That was why I adopted your sister. Your mother and I were away for over a year. The tribe thought she was our daughter. Your mother didn't want your sister to grow up and be traumatized. She asked me to keep this a secret." "Did she really fall from the sky?" Lu Li gazed into the distance through the window. The worst seemed to be happening. Lu Li's parents might be from the world above. For some reason, they had to use some forbidden skill to send Lu Ling to the Heaven Reverse universe. Then, her parents and relatives began to look for her. It took them more than 20 years to find her and take her back by force. Lu Li told Lu Renhuang his speculation and the situation. Lu Renhuang said nothing. After a while, Lu Renhuang said, "Lu Li, maybe you are right. Linger's parents might be in the divinity. Otherwise, there should be some clues. Don't be sad. We will cultivate hard. When we ascend to the divinity, we will find your sister. She will recognize us." "Go to the divinity and find my sister?" Lu Li's heart skipped a beat. His gloomy eyes glowed. Lu Renhuang was right. He was talented. More importantly, he had the line diagram. He could learn profound meanings and improve his abilities and realms. He had more than a dozen line diagrams, which meant more than a dozen powerful profound meanings. When he comprehended all of them, he would at least reach the peak of the soul formation stage, right? Lu Renhuang was already at the peak of the Earth Immortal realm, half a step into the semi-god realm. He was only in his 40s, and there was a good chance that he could reach the semi-god realm. By then, the father and son could reach the immortal realm together and explore the divinity together. It was possible that they could find Lu Ling, an emperor of heaven reverse. That was a mighty warrior in the divinity. He said that as long as Lu Li went to the divinity, he could be Lu Li's protege. With the help of Emperor of Heaven Reverse, it might be easier to find Lu Ling. The wicked bead had 4 layers of seals yet to be opened. He had a powerful dragon demon and the Slayer's blood. He had unlimited possibilities. "Sister, just you wait." Soon, Lu Li became determined. He murmured, I will work hard. I will go to the divinity to find you. I will. Lu Renhuang stood up, patted Lu Li's shoulder and was about to leave without saying anything. Lu Li suddenly thought of something. He asked, Father, my mother is still in the ice abyss. How about we move her grave into the ancestral grave of the Lu family? She is too lonely in the ice abyss. Your mother is not lonely. Lu Renhuang turned around and put on a forlorn smile. He said, the ice abyss is just her cenotaph. I have been keeping her body in my interspatial ring. I have been accompanying her because I was afraid she would be too lonely. Father. Looking at Lu Renhuang's resolute face, Lu Li somehow felt suffocated. He comforted his father, when you become an immortal, you may be able to come back from the dead. By then, we can find a way to bring my mother back. Okay. Lu Renhuang grinned. So, we must work hard. I will go back to the prison of ice now. Maybe the next time we meet, I will be at the semi-god realm. Lu Renhuang left. Lu Li sat in silence for a long time. He did not even notice that Jiang Qiling and the others had come in. Darling, don't be sad. Bai Shuang pulled Lu Li's robe. Bai Qiushue squatted in front of Lu Li without saying anything. She put her face on Lu Li's knees. Jiang Qiling walked to Lu Li's back and rubbed his shoulders. I am not sad. Lu Li forced a smile. He took out a jade talisman and said, my sister's jade talisman of life is not broken. She will be fine. I will find a way to find her and she will find a way to come back to us. Okay. The three of them nodded. The fact that Lu Ling's jade talisman of life was still intact was the only piece of good news. Okay, I am going to cultivate now. Lu Li stood up and stretched his body. Pass down my order. Don't worry about my sister. Ming Yu will continue to manage the inferno and the deserted world. Grandpa will be in charge of the demon-slaying hall and great-grandfather 5 will be in charge of the Lu family. Do not disturb me unless it is something important. I will let them make their own decisions. Jiang Qiling and the twins were relieved to see that Lu Li's eyes had regained some spirit. During this time, they had lost their appetite and were restless. They were relieved to see that Lu Li had pulled himself together. Lu Li went to cultivate again. Lu Renhuang went to the prison of ice at once. The demon-slaying hall was quiet. Some patriarchs suggested attacking the voodoo land of the south and the feather land of the west, but Lu Xingyang vetoed the idea. The ocean's land of the east had not been stabilized yet. How could they expand again? Great-grandfather 5 was in charge of the Lu family. After all, nobody dared to provoke the Lu family. Even if there were some monsters lurking in the dark, they would not make a move or they would be torn apart by Lu Li in a rage. After another month or so, the 8th elder began to deliver a steady stream of beast eggs to the village. The fey beasts were breeding fast. It was time to collect eggs. Lu Li let the dragon demon out and let it stay in the inferno. At the same time, Little White went to cultivate. Little White took out the ding of barbarian god and refined the dragon demon with thunderbolts day and night. Lu Li told Ming Yu to send someone to guard the inferno and to keep others away from the dragon demon. Usually, the dragon demon would not do anything as long as no one provoked it. The dragon demon was not intelligent. All it did was eat and sleep. It was easy to take care of. This is the 13th small diagram. With the dragon demon settled, Lu Li went to the inner hall of the wicked bead. He had learned 12 small diagrams of the second big diagram. 3 more to go. By then, not only could he learn a new profound meaning, he could reach the later stage of the human sovereign realm soon. Warriors of the 9 universes, you had better not come to the heaven reverse universe. Or else, The dragon demon was growing stronger, and so was Lu Li's abilities. In a few years, he would be able to fight against a group of semi-god realm warriors. Chapter 9-10. In the inner hall of the wicked bead, Lu Li opened his eyes after a month of cultivation. His eyes were filled with hope. He had learned the second diagram, and it was time for him to reap the rewards. This diagram contained a profound meaning, a very mysterious profound meaning. Luli would not be able to tell what profound meaning it was if he could not study the 15 small diagrams and integrate them. Now, he had an idea. All he had to do was to engrave the diagram into the wicked bead and make sure of the result. After a month of cultivation, Luli was exhausted. He rested for a day and a night and then began to engrave the line diagram into the bead of life. It was a large diagram and it would take some time. Luli spent 3 days and 4 nights before he could engrave the entire diagram into the bead of life. He was right. The line diagram had to be studied and engraved at the same time in order to achieve a better integration. If he were to engrave one small diagram after studying it, he would be in for a long time. Divine energy. The line diagram was engraved into the bead of life. Luli began to mobilize divine energy to enhance the line diagram. Luli mobilized divine energy. The lines on the new diagram began to glow. Eventually, the entire diagram was lit up. Luli's speculation was verified at this moment. Nice. This is a profound meaning related to wind. Luli's soul trembled. He opened his eyes and the bead of life came out. Strands of feather wind gathered around him. Waving his hand, Luli shouted, "Feather wind, gather!" Swish, swish, the feather wind gathered in Luli's hand and turned into a cyan-colored relic weapon. The relic weapon was identical to the divine weapon of Dragon King, except that it was an illusion. "Go!" Luli waved his hand. The feather wind weapon in his hand dashed away in a blur. With a shrill noise, the cyan blur was so fast that it could be compared to the speed of a semi-god realm warrior. Buzzing, the feather wind weapon smashed into the wall of the inner hall of the wicked bead. The wall was covered with inhibition formations. The light kept on flickering. Clearly, the wall was under heavy attack. "Gather!" Luli waved his hands. One relic weapon after another came into being in his hands and danced around him. Luli was making relic weapons so fast that in the time for a dozen breaths, he had made hundreds of relic weapons. That being said, Luli did not dare to use the relic weapons. Though they could not penetrate the wicked bead's defense, they would consume energy. "Disperse!" Luli waved his hand. Those relic weapons turned into feather wind. Then, Luli waved his hand again. The feather wind became regular wind again and dissipated in the air. All right. After some testing, Luli was excited. Just as he expected, this profound meaning could gather wind. This profound meaning should not be underestimated. The way Luli formed Featherwind was different from how he formed Dragons of Wind with Featherwind. Luli's Dragons of Wind and the Dragons of Wind were the simplest way to gather Featherwind. It was like tying some hemp ropes together. It looked like a giant rope, but it was not really fused together. But now, after Luli learned this profound meaning, the Featherwind was truly integrated. He could make Featherwind into anything, be it relic weapons, swords, or even beasts. This was not a simple combination, but a complete integration. Featherwind contained strong soul attacks. Previously, when Luli formed Dragons of Wind with Featherwind, the soul attacks would be much stronger. Now that the Featherwind was completely integrated, the power would be doubled. "Let's go!" Luli dashed out to the inferno. In the yard, Bai Xiaoshuang was sitting by herself, bored. Bai Qiushue and Jiang Qiling were cultivating. "Darling!" When Bai Xiaoshuang saw Luli, she dashed to him in delight. She stuck to Luli like an octopus. "Shuanger, didn't you go out to play?" Luli patted her hair affectionately. Bai Xiaoshuang pouted and said, "I have no one to play with. I don't know where to go." "Okay." Luli took her outside after some thoughts. Then, he flew into the depth of the inferno. He wanted to test the power of his new profound meaning and to see the dragon demon and Little White. Many people were alarmed. But Luli was fast. After a glare, he disappeared into the valley with Bai Xiaoshuang. In a manner, Zilien was drinking tea by herself. She sensed that Lu Li and Bai Xiaoshuang were not there. She seemed to be lonely. She could have been hugged by Lu Li and flown away under the envious gazes of others. However, because of her wrong decision, she lost the chance to walk into Lu Li's heart. Here we are. Lu Li put Bai Xiaoshuang down when they arrived at an open space. They flew forward for a while. The bead of life came out and feather wind was generated. Gather. When there was a large amount of feather wind, Lu Li waved his hands. Many relic weapons came into being and danced around. Bai Xiaoshuang was dazzled. 100, 500, 1,000. When 1,000 relic weapons were generated, Lu Li waved his hands. 1,000 relic weapons whooshed toward a huge mountain in the distance in a ray of light. Boom, boom, boom. 1,000 relic weapons pierced through the mountain, making it look like a beehive. Crushed rocks filled the sky. After waiting for a breath of time, the mountain range collapsed with a loud rumble. Smoke and dust billowed into the air, covering the sky and covering the earth. Rumbling sounds rang out incessantly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh in the distance, the patrolling soldiers heard the commotion and flew over. When they saw that a huge mountain had been flattened, all of them were shocked. But when they saw that it was Lu Li, they were relieved. To the average warriors, Lu Li could be compared to Emperor of Heaven Reverse before he ascended to the immortal world. They would not be surprised if Lu Li could destroy a royal city, let alone a mountain. Just as I thought, Lu Li ignored the warriors. He put on a rare smile. The relic weapons made of feather wind were not only capable of soul attacks, but also physical attack. The stones in the inferno were as hard as steel. After all, the temperature in the inferno was high. How could the stones not be hard after being baked in the high temperature all year round? Now, the relic weapons made of feather wind could penetrate through the mountain without any hindrance. The relic weapons made of feather wind were powerful. This is good. If this was all the feather wind weapons could do, Lu Li would not be so excited. What he cared about was the cooperation between the feather wind weapons and the feather wind castle. Once an enemy entered the feather wind castle, it would be hard for them to get out. By then, Lu Li could generate tens of thousands of feather wind weapons to attack continuously. Even the strongest warrior would be worn out. Chapter 9:11. It is a pity that I cannot find someone to test it on, Lu Li exclaimed. His feather wind castle was not enough to stop the Earth Immortal Realm warriors. He didn't even need to use feather wind weapons. The feather wind castle could defeat the Earth Immortal Realm warriors, and they could only wait for death. Go! Lu Li generated over a dozen relic weapons, and they danced around. He wanted to be more familiar with controlling the relic weapons. He wanted to make the feather wind weapons as flexible as his arms. That is impressive. Darling, use more. Bai Xiaoshuang clapped her hands and said delightedly. The warriors were dumbfounded. Lu Li ignored them. He generated dozens more relic weapons and controlled them to fly around in the air for dozens of times. Then, he stabbed at a huge mountain in the distance. Bang, 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 bang. More holes appeared on that mountain. All of them were pierced through. But this time, there were fewer relic weapons. The mountain did not collapse. Hiss, hiss, the mountain was tens of thousands of feet tall. Yet, it was pierced through. The warriors were shocked. Lu Li, on the other hand, was not satisfied. He remembered the power of the Slayer's casual move. He wondered when he could become so strong. Lu Li saw from the Slayer's blood that the Slayer could crack a mountain with a height of more than 10,000 feet. The Slayer did not cut it in half. Wherever the Slayer's saber pointed, there would be bottomless ravines on the ground. Demons that were as huge as mountains and more powerful than the dragon demon were killed in one move. That was a shocking scene. The Slayer. Lu Li suddenly thought of something. Even though he only saw the scene for a short moment from the Slayer's blood, he could tell that the Slayer's moves contained some powerful, profound meaning. If Lu Li could learn a little bit from the Slayer's attack, he would be rich. The Slayer was one of the super mighty warriors in the divinity. For example, a warrior of the Xian Wu realm who could learn a little bit from an Earth Immortal realm attack could defeat warriors of the Spirit Sea realm and Soul Pond realm. Okay. The more Luli thought about it, the more excited he became. He could keep watching that scene from the Slayer's blood. When he could not stand it any longer, he could back out. The energy in the Slayer's blood evaporated slowly. One drop of blood was enough for him to watch over 10,000 times. If he could comprehend a little from the Slayer's attack, his combat power would definitely soar. After all, the Slayer was an almighty from the divine world. At that time, even if a drop of the Slayer's blood was completely ineffective, he would have made a fortune. Go! Luli carried by Xiaoshuang with one hand and flew into the distance. Soon, they vanished into the distance, leaving behind a group of admiring warriors. Luli's hair had not turned black yet. He was a young man with white hair, but that didn't diminish his charm. Instead, he gave the warriors a strange feeling. Furthermore, they were bringing along a beauty like Bai Xiaoshuang, which made the soldiers feel like they were a celestial couple. Instead of going back, Luli went to the dragon demon. He had been cultivating for a while. Naturally, he had to come and check on the dragon demon. Little White was still here. Flying out of a huge valley, he could see soldiers patrolling from afar. When those soldiers heard the sound of the air being torn apart, they instinctively went on guard. When they saw it was Luli, they dropped to one knee and said, "Greetings, young master, young madam." Luli was the Grand Master of the Demon-Slaying Hall, but only those at the Demon-Slaying Hall addressed him as Grand Master. In the deserted world, many called him Saint Lord or Young Master. Some called him Young Master or State Counselor. Okay. Luli nodded and flew into the valley with Bai Xiaoshuang. He used psychic power to check. Mingyu had sent a steward from the Lu family to take care of the dragon demon. The steward sensed Luli's psychic power and hurried over. Luli paid no attention to the steward. He used psychic power to check on the dragon demon and was satisfied. After a while, the dragon demon had grown up. It was larger in size and its fur and scales were redder. The dragon demon was more intimidating than ever. The dragon demon was in the middle of the valley. There was a formation to gather energy and to lower the temperature in the valley. There was a pond next to the valley. Clearly, it was man-made for the dragon demon to live in a more comfortable environment. Hoot hoot, due to the spiritual connection between Luli and the dragon demon could sense Luli's arrival. The dragon demon opened its eyes and stood up, trying to please Luli. It even wagged its tail. The dragon demon did not look like a ferocious beast that could be compared to a semi-god realm warrior, but a mountain guard dog. Luli nodded. He turned to the Ding of Barbarian God. Little White was cultivating in the Ding of Barbarian God. The Ding of Barbarian God could absorb energy from heaven and earth automatically and produce thunderbolts constantly. Little White did not know how to cultivate, but it was smart enough to know that the stronger its body was, the stronger its abilities would be. Therefore, Little White had been using thunderbolts to refine its body. At the moment, it was sleeping in the Ding of Barbarian God, letting the thunderbolts strike on its body. This is good. Little White's way of refining its body was not bad. The Ding of Barbarian God was a good fit for Little White. Little White's body would be as strong as that of the dragon demon sooner or later. By then, not even a semi-god realm warrior could hurt Little White, but Little White could bite a semi-god realm warrior to death. Well, if I can go to the prison of thunder one day, I can take Little White with me. I think it will be thrilled. The prison of ice is my father's cultivation ground, and the prison of thunder is for Little White. Luli thought to himself, to become an immortal, he must go to the prison of thunder. Therefore, he must go to the prison of thunder. He must go to the divinity if he wanted to find Lu Ling. He must go there by all means. Let's go back. With Little White here, Even if something were to happen to the dragon demon, Little White could deal with it. If worse came to worst, Little White could buy some time for Luli to come. Luli took Bai Xiaoshuang back and told her to play with Madame Yen. He could not wait to go to the inner hall of the wicked bead. One look at the Slayer's blood could drive him into a frenzy. Luli did not want anyone to be around. If his family or friends were killed by him, he would regret it for the rest of his life. After a while, Luli took out a jade bottle. He opened the stopper slowly. A surge of evil energy came out. Luli's eyes reddened. He was filled with murderous intent. The Slayer's blood was overwhelming. The evil energy contained in the blood alone was unbearable for the average low-level warriors. Luli took out another jade bottle at once and poured out a drop of the Slayer's blood. Then, he stored one drop and looked at the other one. Gradually, Luli's eyes turned redder and redder. He saw a horrifying scene. A white-haired young man was waving his saber and fighting demons in a desolate land. "Calm down, calm down." Luli repeated the two words to himself. He forced himself not to look at the collapsed mountains, the ravines, and the cracks in space in the sky. He focused on the Slayer's saber, trying to pick up some powerful, profound meanings and move. Time moved on. Luli's situation was worsening. His veins were bulging. His blood could burst out at any time and he would die. His face was ferocious like a ghost. His muscles were trembling. From time to time, he would bellow like a beast. He was trying to suppress his violent emotions. "I can't," in the time for just 10 breaths, Luli could not stand it anymore. He yelled and closed the stopper with trembling hands. Then, he rolled his eyes and passed out on the ground. P.S. Yesterday I recommended The Demon Slayer's Contract by Carefree Surging Waves. It is a supernatural book. It is about ghosts and humans. I found it interesting. Those who like ghost stories should go and read it. Well, I should go on asking for monthly votes. Chapter 9:12. Luli had a dream. In his dream, he was standing on a desolate land. Bodies were everywhere and blood was everywhere. He seemed to be surrounded by blood. Many ghosts were hiding in the shadows. As he walked on, more ghosts would come out, trying to tear him apart. As he walked, a beautiful figure suddenly appeared in front of him. It was a beautiful woman, but she was being entangled by a malicious ghost. That lady did not turn around or shout. Even so, Luli recognized right away that it was Lu Ling. Go to hell. He dashed over, swinging his saber and killing the ghosts one by one. Unfortunately, by the time he reached Lu Ling, she had already been torn apart by the ghost. The ground was covered in blood. "No, no," he yelled and woke up. When he realized he was in the wicked bead, he began to breathe heavily. He was soaked in cold sweat and his hair was dripping. After the time for one incense stick to burn, he finally wiped off the sweat on his forehead. Sitting on the ground, Luli began to recall what he saw when the Slayer killed demons and how the Slayer swung his saber. There was nothing special about that saber except that every time the Slayer swung it, there would be a cyan glare. The saber must be a relic weapon. However, the Slayer did not rely on the saber to be so strong, but some profound meaning. From that simple wave, Luli sensed a trace of Taoist rhyme. But he could not tell what it was. It was a strange feeling like the wind. He could feel it but could not see it or touch it. Luli had been studying for half a day, but he still could not figure it out. He was not in a hurry. If the Slayer's move could be learned easily, then the Slayer would not be the Slayer. Luli took out the blood of the Slayer and continued to watch. Since he took the blood of the Slayer last time, he had developed some resistance to the evil spirit in the blood. He could plug the bottle at the critical moment so that he would not lose control. A moment later, Luli passed out again. This time, the duration was shorter. When Luli woke up, he continued to study. Then, he took out the blood of the Slayer again. The cycle repeated. Luli planned to spend 3 months studying the move in the Slayer's blood. If he failed, he would continue to study the line diagram. With the Feather Wind Castle and Feather Wind weapons, he could easily kill average semi-god realm warriors. His level was still improving. It wouldn't be long before he reached the late stage of the human sovereign realm. More importantly, the dragon demon had been growing stronger, which gave Lu Li confidence. He was not afraid of the warriors of the 9 universes. Moreover, the Slayer's killing move was too terrifying. If he could comprehend even a little bit of it, his combat strength would soar. The Inferno and the deserted world were still peaceful. Lu Ling's matter was settling down. Lu Li himself was not going to pursue the matter. Others would not take the initiative to do so. Yi Jie was activated. Many people had been investigating for so long without any clues. Many people had already given up. But the Central Plains was not very peaceful. After Great-Grandfather 5 took charge of the Lu family's affairs, he decided to launch an operation. He was determined to find the remaining members of the 100 Flowers Pavilion, the Life League, and the other forces. He would kill them all to prevent future troubles. Last time, when Lu Li came back with serious injuries, the surviving forces of several forces were itching for action. This time, when Lu Ling went missing, many were stirring up trouble behind her back and spreading rumors. The Central Plains was in a state of panic. Great-Grandfather 5 felt threatened. The enemy was in the dark while he was in the light. Those surviving forces were not small. There were also some Earth Immortal Realm warriors in hiding. They could cause great damage and must be eliminated. Great-Grandfather 5 gathered Yi Cha and the others and began to secretly investigate the hiding places of the remaining evil forces. Then, he mobilized the Lu family's own forces and Lu Li's Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves to kill the surviving forces. The result was remarkable. The 5 forces had many branches. Powerful warriors of those branches changed their names and hid in different places. During this time, the Lu family found dozens of strongholds and wiped them all out. They also found the small worlds where the Life League and the Pavilion of Blossoms were hiding. The rest was easy. Great-Grandfather 5 asked the Palace of Immortal, the Red Lunar, and the Palace of Heaven's Roars to take action. They mobilized many powerful warriors to the 2 small worlds. It wouldn't be long before the remaining members of the 5 major forces were all killed. Even if some of them could escape, they would not be able to make a scene. The Central Plains was in turmoil, and so was the demon-slaying battleground. Lu Xingyang decided to attack the Feather Race. The Asmodeans had been stabilized. A large number of warriors were stationed there. All the Asmodeans were enslaved. They could only help the humans to mine mines, collect mystical materials, and plunder resources. All the powerful Asmodeans were killed. One Earth Immortal Realm Patriarch was enough. The Patriarchs of the Demon-Slaying Hall had nothing to do. The Master of the Feather Race was killed by Lu Li. Many Earth Immortal Realm warriors of the Feather Race were wounded or killed. More importantly, the Feather Race was in internal strife. The 3 sons of the Feather Race's master were fighting for the throne. The powerful warriors and armies of the Featherland of the West were divided into 3 groups. The human race had spies on the other side, and they had found out very clearly. This was a chance of a lifetime. Not only were the patriarchs of the demon-slaying hall tempted, even Lu Xingyang could not wait any longer. Lu Li had conquered the eastern land of oceans, and his name would go down in history. If Lu Xingyang could lead the human army to defeat the Featherland of the West, he would leave a mark in human history as well. What was more, the Lu family at the eastern land of oceans had benefited greatly. Disciples of the Lu family were growing fast. Countless powerful warriors were seeking refuge with the Lu family. When Lu Xingyang was the family patriarch, he had given an order to find talented orphans, give them the surname Lu, and train them. Also, the Lu family was encouraging the birth of children. Many disciples of the Lu family were going around to marry girls from major families. The Lu family had so many resources. After some time, the number of powerful warriors of the Lu family would increase. By then, the status of the Lu family would be more secure. This virtuous cycle would lay the foundation of the Lu family's future. Of course, Lu Xingyang and great-grandfather 5 had a discussion and established a strict rule of the Lu family. Lu Xingyang had been reminded by Lu Fengyun and Lu Zhantian. No matter how large the Lu family was, if the disciples of the Lu family were to mess around, the Lu family would be ruined. The Lu family was now in the spotlight. Lu family disciples must keep a low profile. Otherwise, the Lu family would suffer the same fate as the Samsara Palace if they were attacked. The Lu family had more and more disciples. Naturally, Lu Xingyang wanted more resources and properties for the Lu family. Therefore, he was tempted to learn about the internal strife of the Feather race. The Feather race did not have many powerful warriors to begin with. It was said that there were only over 20 Earth Immortal Realm warriors, and they were divided into 3 groups. If the powerful warriors of the Feather race could unite and conquer the Feather Land of the West, the Feather race would have a good chance of winning. The Feather race had never been good at attacking. They were fast, but the Feather Land of the West was their territory. Where could they run to? Lu Xingyang wanted to ask Patriarch of Law Enforcement, but the latter was in closed-door cultivation and was not available. Lu Xingyang sent a message to Luli, but Luli didn't care and told Lu Xingyang to make the decision. Chapter 9:13. As a matter of fact, Luli did not know that Lu Xingyang was asking for Luli's help because he was in closed-door cultivation. Luli told Lu Xingyang not to ask for his help unless the sky was falling. This was Jiang Qiling's idea. She knew Luli well and she knew that he wouldn't get involved in this kind of thing. For her, the Feather race was weak. Lu Xingyang and the others could deal with them. By the time the Lu family wiped out the remaining forces of the Pavilion of Blossoms and the Life League, the demon-slaying hall was almost ready. Lu Xingyang led an army in person. Lu Xingyang asked Jiang Tianshun to take charge of the rear while he led 40 Earth Immortal Realm warriors and millions of soldiers to the Featherland of the West. The Harpies originally had 2 cities, but because of the internal strife among the Harpies, all of their experts had been pulled back, leaving the cities deserted and empty. With the help of the Feather race's spies, Lu Xingyang and the others entered the Featherland of the West and occupied a big city in no time. The army continued to pour in, wiping out the nearby Harpy armies one by one. In just a few days they had conquered a large region. In the following period of time, Lu Xingyang led his army to conquer cities and territories. The Feather race army could not withstand the might of the human race. As soon as the human army arrived, many cities either fled in a hurry or surrendered. As more and more cities were conquered and more regions were conquered, the demon-slaying city was bustling with success. The 4 clans and the human clan had a blood feud. If they could conquer the Feather Land of the West, everyone would be able to witness history. The human clan would be more stable and prosperous. The divine Great Land became lively again. Ordinary people couldn't get in touch with the war, so they could only listen to the news and imagine the scene of a great army. Hearing that the human race had defeated the alien race, they were naturally excited. When the news reached the Inferno, Jiang Qiling and the others were not concerned. Since Luli had been cultivating, they did not disturb him. Anyway, the attack on the Feather race went smoothly. With so many Earth-level deities, they could easily suppress the powerful ones of the Feather race. There was nothing to report. Luli had been cultivating for 3 months. The result was disappointing. He had lost count of how many times he had fainted in the past 3 months. He had watched countless scenes of Slayer slaying the demon, but he had not comprehended anything useful. Shadi's killer move must contain some kind of powerful ultimacy. That was because when Shadi slashed casually, the demons stopped moving and let his saber chi slash at them. The saber chi contained some kind of inexplicable energy that easily split the demons in half. Luli was sure that the demon was stronger than the dragon demon in defense. Such a powerful defense was easily cleaved into two, and it felt so casual. Therefore, the profound meaning the Slayer learned must be powerful. It was just that Luli could not learn it. Forget it, forget it. Luli put away the blood of the Slayer. He decided not to study it for now. Perhaps the Slayer's killing move was too profound. His realm was too low and his comprehension was not good enough. He would slowly comprehend it in the future. Let's go out and rest for a while. Over the past 3 months, Luli often passed out and woke up from nightmares. He was physically and mentally exhausted. He dashed out. He checked with psychic power and found that Jiang Qiling and the others were still there. They were not cultivating. After a bath, Luli chatted with his 3 wives for a while. He learned that Lu Xingyang had led an army to attack the feather capital of the West. Luli did not worry too much. There were not many powerful warriors at the feather capital of the West. Lu Xingyang and the others should not encounter much resistance. After a good night's sleep, Luli went to visit the dragon demon and Little White with his 3 wives. The dragon demon was still growing, but at a slower rate. Luli learned that eggs of the fey beasts had been coming in constantly. But the dragon demon seemed to be hungry. Patriarch 8 was growing fey beasts at a fast pace. It was said that the number of fey beasts had reached over 100,000. In half a year's time, the dragon demon would have enough food and its growth would be accelerated. Little White was still the same, the size of a fist. It had been sleeping in the ding of barbarian god to refine its body. Luli wondered how strong Little White's body had become. Luli had been in closed-door cultivation recently. He did not have time to spend with his 3 wives. When he came back, he took them to the deserted world, to the hot spring manor. Since it was rare for Luli to spend time with them, the 3 wives were very enthusiastic. They took the initiative to flirt with him. More importantly, the 3 wives were not pregnant, which made them worried. There were 3 ways to be unfilial. The worst was to have no offspring. If they could not give birth to a child for Luli, they would feel guilty and disappointed. Luli rested in the warm manor for 7 to 8 days. Then, he took his 3 wives back to the Inferno to cultivate and study the line diagram. However, in just 7 days Luli was alarmed. An urgent message came from the demon-slaying hall. Lu Xingyang and the others were trapped in a strange formation. The human warriors were being slaughtered by the feather race warriors and the human warriors were losing ground. Also, the feather race had begun to occupy the entrances to the demon-slaying battleground. Once the entrances were destroyed, the human warriors and the human warriors that were invading the feather land of the West could all be wiped out. Strange formation? Luli was taken aback by the news. He did not have a close relationship with Lu Xingyang, but Lu Xingyang was his grandpa. They shared the same blood. What was more, this grandpa had been nice to Luli ever since he woke up. How could Luli watch Lu Xingyang die? Qiling, stay here and don't go anywhere. I will go to the feather land of the West. Luli said in a hurry and flew to the depth of the Inferno. He arrived at the valley where the dragon demon was. He put away the dragon demon at once, woke up Little White and took it with him. He collected all the food for the dragon demon in the valley. He was not sure how long he would be gone. Without food, the dragon demon would grow weaker. Therefore, a large amount of food must be stored. He teleported out of the deserted world and asked Kumang to gather all the patriarchs and bring many formation stones. He teleported everyone into the wicked bead. Then, he teleported to the Eastern Sea and went to the city of Mystic Armor. In the city of Mystic Armor, he found Patriarch 8 and asked for some more food for the dragon demon before he entered the demon-slaying hall. How is it going? As soon as Luli entered the demon-slaying city, Jiang Tianshun went to greet him. Luli asked, "Is the entrance under control?" If the entrance was destroyed, Luli would not be able to enter the Featherland of the West. In that case, Lu Xingyang and the others would be doomed. If the feather race could trap Lu Li and the others with a strange formation, then they should be able to wear them out. Jiang Tianshun said solemnly, "Not yet. I have sent 5 patriarchs to guard the entrance as soon as I got the news. I also sent a message to the warriors over there. They must guard the entrance even at the cost of their lives." "I understand. I will go now." Lu Li nodded. Without another word, he dashed into the wicked bead. The wicked bead dashed to the west like a shooting star. Chapter 9:14. Whoosh, the wicked bead was fast and did not stop along the way. Flying in a straight line was efficient. In merely 2 days, they had arrived at the West Feather City. There were 2 cities on this side, but they were empty. There were still some human warriors stationed here. Lu Li was cheered up to see the warriors. It meant that the feather race did not come out to fight back. Buzzing above the cities, Lu Li dashed out and shouted to the warriors, "Where is the entrance to the feather land of the West?" Naturally, the warriors knew Lu Li. Lu Li's white hair was easy to recognize. A noble Lord Realm warrior flew up, bowed and said, "Grand Master, I will show you the way. Let's go." Lu Li put away the wicked bead. He took the warrior with one hand and flew into the distance. While flying, Lu Li asked, "Is the entrance to the feather land of the West still under our control?" The noble Lord Realm warrior answered, "Well, I don't know. But a day ago, 5 patriarchs went there." A day ago? Lu Li was surprised. But on second thought, Earth Immortal Realm patriarchs were not fast. Lu Li's wicked bead could be as fast as a semi-god realm warrior. It was understandable that they had just set off. In 2 hours, they arrived at the entrance. Lu Li used psychic power to check. His heart was weighed down by what he saw, because he discovered that the 5 elders were outside, bombarding a mountain range madly. The 5 of them had ugly expressions on their faces, and one of the elders was still cursing. Lu Li used psychic power to check the cave. There was a teleportation portal inside, but the glow of the portal was dim. Clearly, the other side was sealed. Something is wrong. Lu Li was troubled. When the teleportation portal was sealed, it would be difficult to crack. Even though he had brought Kumang and the others with him, if it would take a long time, Lu Xingyang and the others might all die. "Stop it!" Lu Li snorted. The 5 patriarchs stopped. They flew over, dropped to their knees and said, "Grand Master, we are useless. Please punish us. You can't take down the entrance, so you are venting your anger on the teleportation formation?" Lu Li snorted. "If the teleportation portal is destroyed, then we will never be able to go in. What is the point? A bunch of fools." The 5 patriarchs were old. They were scolded like grandchildren by Lu Li, but none of them dared to talk back. Instead, they looked guilty. Buzz. The wicked bead glowed as Kumang and the others came out. Lu Li pointed to the teleportation formation in the distance. Kumang and the others immediately understood. They flew out of the portal and began to think of a way to crack it. When Lu Li was at the Inferno, he already knew that the entrance might be sealed or destroyed. Therefore, he went to Kumang at once to prevent this from happening. Lu Li glanced over and asked the patriarchs, "Are there any other open entrances nearby?" "That's all." An elder surnamed Sun cupped his hands and said, "There's only one entrance, and it was opened by a traitor." Elder Lu and the others thought that it would be easy to attack the feather race, and there were a few elders guarding the entrance at all times. Therefore, they didn't attack the other entrances. Grandpa was too careless. Lu Li sighed. Kumang came over to report after a while, "This entrance cannot be opened. It must be broken or the portal at the feather race's side has been destroyed. Show me the way. Go to the entrance nearby. Now." Lu Li waved his hand. The 5 patriarchs took out a map to check and flew to the south. In a valley at the south, one of the patriarchs found a cave that was also an entrance. Unsurprisingly, the entrance here was sealed as well. Teleportation could not be done directly. Kumang went in at once. After a thorough check, Kumang came out and said, "Saint Lord, the portal is not destroyed. It's just that it is sealed. I am 70% sure that I can crack it." Kumang was a talent of the Shadowland race that was hard to come by in 10,000 years. Ever since he started following Luli, his realm had barely improved. He was still at the Noble Lord realm. He spent all his time studying inhibition formations and formations of illusion. In this regard, nobody in the entire Heaven Reverse universe could be better than him. 70%? Kumang's words made everyone's eyes light up. Luli asked, "How long will it take?" Kumang thought about it and said, "This inhibition formation is old. If everything goes well, we can crack it in half a month." Good. Luli was overjoyed. Kumang was being conservative when he said half a month. If everything went well, it would be 10 days at most. Lu Jingyang and the others should be able to hold on for 10 days. Kumang, do your best. Luli waved his hand and said, "If we can save my grandpa this time, the Shadowland race can choose any region of the Great Land." "Thank you, Saint Lord." Kumang and the other patriarchs were overjoyed. The Shadowland race had a territory in the deserted world, but it could not compare to a region of the Central Plains. If the Shadowland race could have a region, they could develop quickly, and there was hope that they could regain their former glory. Kumang led the others into the cave at once, and began to crack the inhibition formation. Luli asked the 5 patriarchs to help while he went into the wicked bead to cultivate. Luli could not offer any help when it came to cracking inhibition formations. Worrying would not do him any good. He might as well focus on cultivation. Luli had begun to study the third diagram. The second diagram gave him a powerful offensive profound meaning. What kind of profound meaning would the third diagram give him? He was looking forward to it. Time flew by while he was cultivating. Luli felt it had only been 4 or 5 days when the wicked bead began to tremble. Luli used psychic power to check. Soon, his eyes glowed. The teleportation tunnel outside was glowing. Clearly, it could be teleported. Those 5 elders had all disappeared. They should have teleported in ahead of time and occupied the other side's exit. Go! Luli did not want to lose this chance. He dashed out of the wicked bead. He praised Kumang. "Well done, Kumang. Later, I will ask Great-Grandfather 5 to give you a region. You can pick your own place. Enough talking. Go into the wicked bead." Luli sent the patriarchs of the Shadowland race in, but Kumang did not. He held a jade talisman in his hand. When the jade talisman shattered, he nodded and said, "Saint Lord, Elder Sun and the others have sent a message. It's safe over there. Go." Luli grabbed Kumang with one hand and rushed into the portal. After a glare, they appeared in a magnificent castle. Buzz. Luli used psychic power to check. There were corpses everywhere. Patriarch Sun and the others were still slaughtering. There was a troop of the feather race guarding here. There were over 1,000 warriors, but none of them were powerful. "Keep them alive," Luli shouted. He let out the patriarchs of the Shadowland race and ordered, "Build formations of illusion and destruction here. Make sure that the feather race will not take over this place." Kumang took action with the patriarchs. Luli did not do anything. It was too easy for 5 Earth Immortal Realm warriors to kill over 1,000 warriors. It was a one-sided slaughter, which Luli was not interested in. After the time for one incense stick to burn, the battle came to an end. Patriarch Sun and the others came back with a Noble Lord Realm warrior each. The rest of the Feather Race warriors were all killed. Luli ordered, "Interrogate them. Find out where my grandpa is and what is the situation over there. Now." "Okay." Chapter 9:15. The interrogation was fast. The 5 patriarchs were afraid that Luli would blame them for their incompetence. How could they be careless in such a trivial matter? Most of the feather race could not speak the human language, but some of them could understand the ancient language. 2 of the 5 patriarchs knew the ancient language. Soon, they got the answer. Grand Master, look at the map. Pointing to a map of the Featherland of the West, Patriarch's son explained to Luli, "This is the holy land of the feather race, the Valley of Feather. There is a mountain of wings where the feather race worships the god of wings. Outside the Valley of Feather is the city of Feather, the capital of the feather race." Patriarch Lu and the others entered the Valley of Feather and were sealed off by the formation. This is the entrance to the Valley of Feather. It is hundreds of millions of miles away from the Valley of Feather. It will take more than 10 days to fly in a straight line. We are here, more than 100 million miles away from the Valley of Feather. Saint Lord, if you fly there in the wicked bead, it will take you 10 days. According to their information, the entrance over there has been taken over by the feather race. Many human warriors have lost their lives. The patriarchs guarding there are leading their warriors to flee. To the west of the feather land of the West, there are human warriors. They are scattered and hiding. I think they are waiting for you to come to rescue. Patriarch's son explained to the map. Luli was more confident now that everything was clear. He nodded and said, "They are not stupid. They are not fighting with their lives on the line. It will be hard for the feather race to wipe them out when they are scattered. Also, I think the powerful feather race warriors are going to deal with Grandpa and the others." Luli looked at the map and thought for a while. Soon, he made up his mind to leave the human warriors alone. Now that the human warriors had gone into hiding, there would not be many casualties in a short time. Lu Xingyang and the other patriarchs were more valuable than the 1 million warriors. The higher the level of the warriors, the rarer they were and the harder it was to train them. Warriors at the Earth Immortal Realm could not be reached by relying on mystical materials. Talents, opportunities, and luck were required. Flying would take too long. Luli planned to attack the city directly and teleport there using teleportation formations. The speed of teleportation was fast. The feather race could not send messages quickly. As long as the teleportation formations were not destroyed, Luli would not be afraid even if enemies were to ambush him. "The 4 of you guard this place. Elder Son, come with me. Kamang, you too. The rest of the elders of the Sky Illusion tribe will guard this place," Luli ordered. After some thoughts, he added, "If you cannot defend this place, give up and go back to the demon-slaying battleground. With Kamang with me, I can break the seal and go back to the demon-slaying battleground at any time. The 4 of you can attack and take down the nearby cities. Logically speaking, after I make my move, no one should be paying attention to you." Of course. The other 4 patriarchs nodded. Since Luli had taken actions, it must be a big deal. The entire feather race would be in a state of panic if Luli killed his way toward the Valley of Feather. All the attention would be on Luli. Why would he pay attention to them? Go. Luli put Kumang and Patriarch's son into the wicked bead and himself. The wicked bead flew toward a nearby city in a blur. This was a huge mountain. Not long after Luli left the mountain, he saw a feather race army whooshing over. There were at least 10,000 of them, led by several human sovereign realm warriors of the feather race. They must have received a request for help, but they did not know the strength of their enemies. Several human sovereign realm warriors and over 10,000 warriors were not enough for the 4 patriarchs to kill. Luli was not in the mood to attack this army. But now that he had encountered them, he would not show mercy. The wicked bead enlarged in an instant. It flew into the middle of the army and cleared a path for the warriors to move. The wicked bead was so fast that the feather race warriors did not even have the time to see them clearly before the wicked bead smashed into them. The 2 human sovereign realm warriors at the front were smashed to death, not to mention the feather race warriors behind them. Every warrior that was hit by the wicked bead was smashed to death. Whoosh, the wicked bead had flown away. Many feather race warriors did not have the time to react. When they took a look, they were shocked. 2 of their 3 leaders were smashed to death. Almost 1,000 of the 10,000 warriors were gone. The wicked bead! The remaining human sovereign realm warrior yelled in surprise. He once participated in the battle at the demon-slaying city and luckily made it back. Naturally, he recognized Lu Li's wicked bead. This feather race warrior was horrified. He left the army and chased after Lu Li in a frenzy. Lu Li had entered the feather land of the west without anyone knowing. This feather race noble felt the world was about to change. Maybe the feather land of the west would be ravaged by Lu Li alone and blood would flow into rivers. This feather race noble wanted to go back and report to his family patriarch. The nearby city was his family's territory. Lu Li happened to be heading toward that city. However, this feather race noble was fast, but he was only as fast as a human warrior at the later stage of the human sovereign realm. How could he compare with the wicked bead? Poof! After a while, the feather race noble realized that he could not catch up with the wicked bead. He took out a bead and spat out some blood. The bead glowed and then exploded. Lu Li flew for an hour and arrived at a big city. He was lucky. The first city he found was a big one, which saved him a lot of time. But how come the city was protected by a shield? Though the shield was not as powerful as the 12 royal cities, it would still take Lu Li some time to crack it open on his own. Above the city, on the city wall, stood many feather race warriors. All of them were good-looking and dressed in luxurious robes. The average warriors looked like elegant nobles, but all the feather race warriors looked awful, as if they were facing a formidable enemy, especially a powerful feather race warrior in a golden robe with golden wings. When he saw the wicked bead, he was even more upset. They must have received the message. Lu Li used psychic power to make sure that the teleportation formation in the city was not destroyed. He grinned coldly. He dashed out. Whoosh, he floated in the air, wearing only an average cyan robe. His white hair danced in the wind. But he was more powerful than all the other feather race warriors. What? The over 100,000 warriors in the city were in an uproar. Some of the feather race recognized Lu Li. His name was heard in the city. Many of the feather race warriors acted as if they had seen a demon. Even though Lu Li was alone, he felt like he was leading an army, suffocating them. Honorable human leader. The feather race warrior with golden wings suddenly used a strange skill to say, "This is the territory of the golden feather race. You are not welcome here. Please leave at once. Or else, we will regard this as an invasion and we will attack you until we are dead." The golden wing race was using the ancient language, which Lu Li could understand. He rolled his eyes, speechless. It was said that the feather race was a gentleman. Before they killed someone, they would say something nice, like punishing someone on behalf of the god of wings or killing a demon. How many humans had the feather race killed over the years? What was the point of talking about invading and morality? Invasion? The human armies had already made their way in. What was there to talk about? Lu Li snorted. Without another word, a red glow came out from between his eyebrows. Then, a shadow of a beast came into being in midair. Eventually, it became a beast as large as a mountain. "Dragon demon, break the city!" Lu Li pointed at the city. He was filled with killing intent. The dragon demon could not understand Lu Li's words, but his gesture was obvious. He wanted the dragon demon to attack the city. Hoot hoot! Chapter 9:16. What would it be like when a beast with a body of 1,000 feet and a body length of thousands of feet was running? Lu Li did not know what the feather race was thinking. All he knew was that he was shocked. Every time the dragon demon took a step, the ground would tremble and a huge footprint would be left on the ground. The muffled and hurried footsteps were like a drum pounding on the soul. Luli was still standing next to the dragon demon. Even a semi-god realm warrior would be trembling if Luli were standing in front of him. Crack, crack, crack on the city wall, many feather race warriors' teeth were chattering. Some of the feather race were frightened by the dragon demon and had to step back in fear. On the city wall, the feather race did not even have the strength to step back. They stood there, trembling. Plop, some of the feather race were still flying in the air, but they were suppressed by the dragon demon. Some of the feather race on the city wall collapsed to the ground. Undefeatable! That was what many feather race warriors were thinking. They were like ants facing an elephant. Helplessness and fear filled their hearts. The only thing many feather race felt was fear. Apart from that, they had no other thoughts. Boom! The dragon demon's huge claw smashed down at the shield with the force of wind and thunder. At that moment, many feather race warriors felt the sky was falling. Many feather race warriors felt their hearts were pounding. They felt their heads were about to explode and their bodies were about to be crushed. The city's barrier trembled violently, but it did not shatter. This allowed the harpies to sigh in relief. However, the city lord's expression changed drastically. That attack just now had consumed a lot of the city's protective barrier's energy. At most, after a few dozen more attacks, the barrier would shatter. Retreat! The feather race city master shouted. He had thought that the shield could hold out for a few days, and he could have a talk with Luli. He did not expect that this unknown beast could be so horrifying. The city master dared not to stay any longer. He dashed into the teleportation formation and left. Boom! The dragon demon swept its tail. The shield trembled again. Then, the dragon demon leaped up and smashed at the shield with its claw. Bang! After the fifth strike, the shield suddenly cracked. Theoretically speaking, the shield should have been able to withstand dozens of strikes. However, the dragon demon was too strong. In that instant, the shield's strength exceeded the limit. Because of the shield, the dragon demon's energy was not so horrifying. Now that the shield was broken, the dragon demon's energy spread out. Many low-level feather race warriors collapsed to the ground, unable to even stand up. Some of the feather race experts wanted to teleport away as well, but they couldn't even take a step forward. Their bodies trembled as they looked up at the towering beast, their teeth chattering. Feather wind weapon. Luli generated over 1,000 feather wind weapons. With a wave of his hand, the feather wind weapons flew out. He could not let the dragon demon attack, which could shatter the teleportation formation. Bang, 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 bang! The feather wind weapons were not only powerful, but they also carried soul attack. How could the average feather race warriors resist them? The feather wind divine weapons danced in the air, blowing up groups of feather race soldiers. Thousands of divine weapons danced in the air. More than half of the feather race soldiers in the city were killed. This human king is too terrifying. Many of the feather race stared at Luli in terror. In such a short time, he had killed nearly 100,000 warriors. He deserved his reputation as a human leader. Let's go. Luli could not stay any longer. If the teleportation formation was destroyed, he would not be able to teleport over. He put away the dragon demon, dashed into the teleportation formation, and let Kumang out. Kumang knew why Luli brought him along. He was prepared. As soon as he came out, he poured out some Xian energy. The teleportation formation glowed as Luli and the others vanished. No, the feather race is doomed. The almighty god of wings, please protect your people. Many feather race dropped to their knees and kowtowed to the Valley of Feather. As far as they could tell, Luli and the dragon demon were invincible. Unless the god of wings came, the feather race would be wiped out. Buzzing. Not long after Luli teleported over, he felt a glare and found himself in another city. This city was not prepared. Clearly, that feather race city master thought that the city could hold out for a while. He thought that the ones teleporting over were the feather race warriors that were retreating. Therefore this city was not prepared. Charge. Luli did not hesitate. He released the Feather Wind Castle at once, which covered up half of the city. Many warriors cried out in pain. How could they stand the soul attacks from the Feather Wind Castle? Feather Wind weapons. Luli generated hundreds of Feather Wind weapons and slaughtered all the warriors in the Feather Wind Castle. He did not touch the civilians that had fainted. Usually, he only targeted the warriors. Time to go. Killing the Feather Race was not Luli's main focus. He did not want to kill low-level warriors because he would not feel any sense of accomplishment. He only killed some warriors to create chaos so that they could not send messages to other cities quickly. Which teleportation formation is Kumang going to? There were some teleportation formations in the city, but Luli did not know which one to go to. He was going to the Valley of Feather, and he did not want to go too far. That one must be going to a city in the north. Kumang observed for a while and came to a conclusion. Luli deactivated the Feather Wind Castle, leaving the corpses on the ground. Together with Kumang, he dashed into the teleportation formation. After a ray of light, they vanished into the teleportation formation. Soon, they arrived at another city. Luli began to kill while Kumang checked the city and confirmed the teleportation route. He was right. They were teleporting to the north. Saint Lord, let's go. When Luli killed all the warriors in the plaza nearby, Kumang dashed into the teleportation formation with Luli following him. They teleported away again. Since Luli and Kumang rarely stayed in cities for long, they would kill some warriors at every city they went to, throwing the city into chaos. Therefore, the cities in the north did not have the chance to receive the warning. Luli and Kumang teleported to more than a dozen cities. They were safe even after traveling for thousands of miles. Bang bang bang. After another 7 or 8 teleportations, Luli was finally attacked. When they arrived at a city, they were attacked from all sides. Buzzing, Luli took out the wicked bead at once and put Kumang in. Then, he built a small Feather Wind Castle. When the arrows were enveloped by the Feather Wind Castle, they all bumped into the walls of the Feather Wind Castle and could not reach Luli. Of course, the most powerful warriors in the city were only several human sovereign realm Feather Race warriors. For Luli, they were not strong enough. Luli had a quasi-relic armor. His body was transformed by divine energy, which made him stronger. These attacks could not hurt him. Go to hell! Luli shouted. He released his Feather Wind weapons and killed all the warriors and powerful warriors that were attacking him. This time, he was not in a hurry to teleport away. There was an ambush here, which meant that the Feather Race had finally received a warning. Would he be ambushed by an Earth Immortal in the next city? If he teleported a few more times and there was a formation to trap Lu Xingyang and the others, wouldn't he be walking into a trap? Kumang. Luli let Kumang out and asked him to check the map to determine where they were. Kumang looked at the map and said, "We are at the Yidang city, not far from the Valley of Feather. If the Earth Immortal Realm warriors fly at full speed, it will take us more than 10 days. The wicked bead will take us 4 or 5 days." Chapter 9:17. The news that Luli had entered the Featherland of the West had been spread out. Many cities had received the news. Even if Luli wanted to take teleportation formations, he would not be able to because those teleportation formations were sealed. Many Feather Race at the Featherland of the West were in a state of panic when they heard the news. Luli was the human emperor, the leader of the human race. Not even the Asmodean lord of the Asmodeans could defeat Luli. The Feather Race had always been weaker than the Asmodeans. Could they defeat Luli? Fortunately, Lu Xingyang and the others were trapped when they attacked the Valley of Feather. Some Feather Race were not so pessimistic and hopeless. Otherwise, many major families of the Feather Race would have gone to small worlds and given up on the Featherland of the West. Many scouts of the feather race were sent out to track Lu Li. Lu Li's whereabouts were easy to find because he did not try to cover his track. He flew toward the Valley of Feather in a straight line. He was extremely arrogant. The three princes and the newly appointed chief patriarch of the feather race sent out an order to gather all the Earth Immortal Realm warriors and hidden warriors of the feather race to the Valley of Feather to help against Lu Li. Apparently, the feather race had few Earth Immortal Realm warriors. Last time, Lu Xingyang killed several of them. That being said, there were still some Earth Immortal Realm warriors living in seclusion. At the Great Land, there were at least dozens of them. Earth Immortal Realm warriors could live a long life. At a certain age, many of them would not want to be entangled with forces and trifles. Therefore, many powerful warriors would choose to live in seclusion. They would hide in the wild or find a blessed place to cultivate. The feather race was in a critical moment. Once the feather race was wiped out, those hidden warriors would have no place to cultivate and would be killed by humans. Therefore, the order was quite persuasive. More and more powerful warriors were teleported to the Valley of Feather, waiting for Lu Li's arrival. The three princes of the feather race were fighting for the throne. When Lu Xingyang led an army in, the three princes dared not to fight among themselves anymore. They were united. What was more, the newly appointed chief patriarch enjoyed high prestige among the feather race. The feather race used to be in a state of disunity. However, under the pressure of foreign enemies, the feather race was united. Unfortunately, the feather race was not powerful. If it were not for the strange formation in the Valley of Feather and the chief patriarch's clever plan to lure Lu Xingyang and the others into the valley, the feather race would have been wiped out. The Valley of Feather was extremely beautiful. It was perpetually shrouded in mist, making it look like a celestial realm. To the north of the Valley of Feather was a towering mountain that pierced through the clouds. At the peak of the mountain was a massive statue of a god. This was the Harpy's religion, the god of wings. Outside the Valley of Feather, there were at least 10 million soldiers. The Valley of Feather was surrounded 3 times, and there were soldiers patrolling everywhere. Not even a mosquito could enter. The inside of the Feather God Valley was very large, covering a radius of several hundred miles. There was a faint white mist everywhere, and jade pavilions could be seen everywhere. If one looked down from the sky, it was indeed no different from a fairyland. This valley was where the royal family resided, and it was a holy land for the Harpies. The God of Wings mountain to the north was even more sacred. The Harpies would feel like they were blaspheming the God of Wings, let alone going there. In the center of the Valley of Feather, there was a large plaza made of white jade. At the moment, there was a light yellow shield in the plaza. Lu Xingyang and the others were trapped inside the shield. When Lu Xingyang came out, he brought 40 patriarchs with him. 5 stayed to guard the entrance. Including Lu Xingyang, there used to be 36 patriarchs. Now, there were only 28 left. Some must have died. These 28 people were all sitting cross-legged on the ground. Their expressions were very unsightly, and they were all sickly and weak, as if they could die at any moment. It was not that the 28 didn't want to fight back and wait for death. It was just that they had been attacking for a long time, and yet they could not crack the formation. Instead, the longer they attacked, the weaker they would be. There was a kind of mist in the formation that could seep into a warrior's body and dissolve his xian energy and physical strength. Therefore, after several days of attacks, there was no sign that the formation was going to crack. Lu Xingyang made up his mind and told everyone to sit where they were. This way they could last longer. Lu Xingyang believed that Lu Li would come as soon as he learned the news. When his grandson came, the formation could be cracked. Outside the formation were more than a dozen Earth Immortal Realm warriors of the feather race. They were all sitting quietly. They did not think of a way to attack Lu Xingyang and the others, nor did they dare to open the shield. After all, there were so many human Earth Immortal Realm warriors. Where is Lu Li? In a palace that was as beautiful as an immortal's palace, a feather race warrior in a white robe asked. The 3 princes of the feather race were here, as well as the 3 most powerful patriarchs of the feather race. The feather race warrior who spoke was sitting in the center seat. What was strange was that she had a young voice and a female voice. Chief Patriarch. A patriarch of the feather race stood up and said, "He has arrived at the Sulon city. He will be here in half a day." "Half a day, alas!" The lady in the white cloak sighed and said, "Luli is too fast. If we had 5 more days we could have killed or captured all of them. Luli's grandpa is in there. We have a bargaining chip." Yes, the 3 older patriarchs were upset. But the 3 young and handsome princes did not care. A man with chestnut-colored hair stood up and said, "Sister 5, don't you think you are overestimating Luli? We have the formation of wings. If we can trap human patriarchs, we can trap Luli as well. As long as we can trap him, he will still die. By then, we can work with the barbarian race and the voodoo race to invade the Great Land and build the feather race's hegemony." The 3 patriarchs rolled their eyes and looked at the prince as if he was an idiot. Even if they could kill Luli, how could they work with the other 2 races to invade the Great Land? The feather race would be working for the other 2 races in vain, even if they could kill Luli. "Brother, don't you think before you speak?" Another prince refuted. "If we can kill Luli and so many powerful human warriors, why would we need to work with the other 2 races? We can just invade the Great Land. You want to be the master of the feather race with a brain like that? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by billions of people of the feather race?" The last prince snorted and said, "Brothers, stop it. Luli is not that easy to kill. If he were, the Asmodean Lord would have done it a long time ago. Of course, we don't have to be afraid of Luli. We are under the protection of the God of Wings. We will make sure that Luli cannot go back." Hearing the arrogant words of the 3 princes, the 3 patriarchs said nothing. Involuntarily, they turned to the lady sitting at the center. The same thought came to their mind. Why was this chief patriarch not a man? Why was he not a pure-blooded feather race? If either of the 2 conditions were met, the 3 patriarchs would push for Princess 5 to take the throne. Chief Patriarch said nothing after hearing the 3 princes' words. He sat there quietly, waiting for Luli's arrival. Time flew by. At dusk, a scout came in and reported, "Chief Patriarch, Princes, Patriarchs, Luli is 1,000 miles away. He will arrive at the Valley of Feather in the time for 1 incense stick to burn. Let's go." If it weren't for the fact that this was a plain, most harpies would have mistaken it for a mountain. A surge of beast energy came from the distance. Many of the feather race felt suffocated even though they could not see the dragon demon. Compared to the dragon demon, they were like flies, so puny, so humble. Bang, bang, bang! The dragon demon moved forward at a moderate pace. Every time its thick limbs moved, there would be a deep pit on the ground. If there were rocks nearby, the ground would crack. Its wings, which looked like a kuan pung, occasionally opened and flapped slightly, covering the sky within a radius of thousands of feet around it. Its emotionless eyes caused many of the harpy soldiers to feel a chill run down their spines. Its glowing white teeth seemed capable of crushing any enemy it encountered. Many of the feather race could no longer stand the overwhelming energy of the dragon demon. They were about to fall from the sky. "Look, there is someone on the head of that beast!" Another one of the feather race shouted. Many people turned to the dragon demon's head. What they saw shocked them again. Standing on the head of the dragon demon was a man in a cyan robe. The man's robe was not luxurious, and he did not have any fancy decorations. He did not use any relic weapon to show off. He just stood on the head of the dragon demon quietly. He looked young. Compared to the feather race, he was not particularly good-looking. But he was not bad. There was something about him that could not be put into words. His white hair was tied up and tossed to the back of his head. At the moment, his hair was dancing in the wind. Without a doubt, Lu Li's temperament was good, especially his calmness, which would not change even if a mountain was pressing down on him. That look of disdain from the world added to his charm. No matter how beautiful a woman was, she would be nothing but a vase without a unique temperament. It was the same for men. No matter how handsome a man was, if he didn't have any special temperament, he would at most be a pretty boy. Lu Li was young, but he had been bullied, carried coffins, hunted down and killed many. He had many subordinates. He had weathered through storms and enjoyed wealth. He had looked up to the great land and looked down upon all heroes in the world. Not to mention Lu Li, anyone would have a different temperament after going through so much. If Lu Renhuang was an unsheathed sword, showing off its edge and unstoppable, Lu Li was like a sword that had just been unsheathed. He looked gentle, but no one dared to ignore his sharpness. He appeared to be peaceful, but inside, he was crazier and wilder than Lu Renhuang. Gold makes the man and clothes make the man. Lu Li was not relying on his fancy robe. He was standing on the dragon demon, which was even more shocking. If you wanted to become a giant, the easiest way was to stand on the shoulders of giants. However, Lu Li was currently standing on the head of a giant. The strength of the dragon demon shocked many feather race warriors. But Lu Li was standing on the head of the dragon demon. This meant that he was more powerful than the dragon demon. He was the master of the dragon demon. He had tamed the dragon demon. Otherwise, how could someone stand on the head of such a powerful beast? Silence. Outside the Valley of Feather were an army of 10 million. Over half of the Feather race's warriors and powerful ones were gathered here. They covered the mountains and plains, and there was no end in sight. However, at the moment, the army of 10 million and more than half of the powerful Feather race warriors were suffocated by the man and the beast. It was as if Lu Li was not a human being, but a god undefeatable. Not even the army of 10 million could stop the man and the beast. Bang, bang, bang! The dragon demon was moving closer and closer. Its energy was pressing down like a mountain, fighting against the momentum of the army of 10 million. However, the dragon demon was able to suppress the feather race warriors easily. How, the three princes stared at the dragon demon and Lu Li, who were getting closer. The contempt and arrogance in their eyes were gone, replaced by fear from the depth of their souls. Phew, the only one that remained calm was the chief patriarch of the feather race. She looked up at the dragon demon that was as tall as the mountain. She forced a smile. Chapter 9:19. Usually, when a big shot showed up, there would be a large group of people following him. This could demonstrate his status and his outstanding bearing. A group of powerful warriors would be more impressive, wouldn't it? Today, Lu Li did not have anyone with him. He and his dragon demon faced the army of 10 million directly. Relying on the momentum of the dragon demon, Lu Li defeated the army of 10 million, which was even more shocking. Many feather race warriors had lost their will to fight because of Lu Li's fame. At the moment, many warriors were thinking of running away. If one of them took the lead, more than half of the warriors would run away. Was that gigantic beast something that humans could fight against? Lu Li could defeat the Asmodean Lord. Could the feather race warriors hurt him? None of the feather race warriors knew the answer. But some of them did. Behind them was the Valley of Feather, the Mountain of Wings, and the princes and princesses of the feather race. The royal disciples were in the valley. The feather race warriors could not retreat or run away. Bang! Lu Li stopped a mile away from the valley. He was only 2 to 3 miles away from the army. The warriors at the front were suffocated. Without exception, the warriors flew down and stood on the ground in silence. Lu Li used psychic power to check the Valley of Feather. He sensed a yellow shield and sensed Lu Xingyang and the others. Lu Li was relieved. He was not late. He had Lu Xingyang's jade talisman of life, which was still intact. Lu Li knew that as long as he could defeat the feather race warriors, he could save everyone and achieve a complete victory. Lu Li did not act rashly. He had learned from the mistakes of Lu Xingyang and the others that any carelessness could land him in jail and doom him eternally. Lu Li used psychic power to check the army of 10 million but did not pay much attention. The army of 10 million seemed to be large and aggressive. However, for Lu Li, they were nothing but a bunch of puny insects. Many warriors could only be as powerful as human warriors of the Fate Wheel realm or the Eternal realm. Warriors of this realm could not cause any harm. The dragon demon could crush them with its momentum. Lu Li used psychic power to check the Valley of Feather. He sensed many powerful warriors. Only warriors of the Earth Immortal realm could be considered powerful. He could vaguely tell that there were at least 30 or 40 Earth Immortal realm warriors in the valley. Most of the Feather race's experts are here, right? Lu Li thought to himself. That being said, this battle concerned the survival of the Feather race. How could the powerful ones of the Feather race not come out? It was the same as when he was in the ocean land of the East. He thought there weren't many strong cultivators left, but they kept popping up. In the end, Lu Li turned to the Mountain of Wings and the statue of the God of Wings. He wasn't far from the Mountain of Wings. He could see the statue of the God of Wings clearly, as well as the few people standing in front of the castle under the statue. Those should be important figures of the Harpies, right? A glint of coldness rose in Lu Li's eyes. He had an idea. To catch the bandits, first catch the ringleader. He would not go and save people rashly. It wouldn't be too late to save them after killing or capturing the enemy's important figures. At the very least, they wouldn't fall into a trap. After a moment of thought, he began to yell in the ancient language, "Who is in charge of the Harpies right now? Come out and meet me!" Lu Li used his dragon roar skill. His voice was as loud as thunder, shaking up the space in front of him. Wave after wave of Harpy soldiers smashed into the ground, creating a powerful gust of wind that seemed to shake mountains and rivers. As a matter of fact, Lu Li's realm was not high. He was only at the middle stage of the human sovereign realm, and he was about to reach the later stage. For many powerful Harpy race warriors, this realm was nothing. However, Lu Li was standing on the head of the dragon demon. Given his reputation, his roar struck fear into the hearts of the Harpy race warriors. Swish, 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 many Harpy race warriors turned around and looked at the few people standing on the Mountain of Wings. Those were the most honorable of the Harpy race. The leaders of the Harpy race were among them. The three princes were taken aback. They looked at each other and stepped back. Who dared to go out and face Lu Li? What if Lu Li killed them in one move? The three patriarchs were disdainful of the three princes' cowardly behavior. They were even more disappointed. The previous master of the Harpy race might not be a wise master, but he was at least a well-behaved one. How could he have three sons like this? The older prince was in his 50s and at the Earth Immortal realm. How could he not have the courage to talk to Lu Li? Buzzing, the robe on the back of the great elder burst open, and a pair of purple wings appeared. She lifted the cloak on her head, revealing a beautiful face that could topple cities. But her face was different from that of a female Harpy race. The Harpy race had pointy chins, pointed ears, and high noses. They were like elves in the forest. Chief Patriarch had an oval face. Her ears and nose were identical to those of a human. Her face was more like a human's. If it were not for the fact that she had a pair of wings on her back, nobody would believe that she was of the Harpy race. Alas! The three patriarchs sighed again, looking at this pretty face. If this lady had the face of a female Harpy race, the three patriarchs would have made her the emperor no matter what. Patriarchs, do you have the courage to come with me to meet Lu Li? Chief Patriarch put on a proud smile as she glanced at the three patriarchs. The three Harpy race elders grinned. They said nothing. Wings appeared on their backs and their spirits soared. Whoosh, Chief Patriarch flapped her purple wings and flew out of the Valley of Feather with the 3 patriarchs. They were fast. In an instant they were above the army. Chief Patriarch looked at Luli and said coldly, "The new Chief Patriarch of the Feather Race, Princess 5, Yini Shang, greets you, Grand Master Lu." Luli was taken aback. Not only was the leader of the Feather Race a lady, but she looked like a human. More importantly, she was speaking the human language. Her pronunciation was perfect, as if she was from the Central Plains. If it were not for the purple wings on her back, Luli would have thought that she was a young lady from a major family of the Central Plains. What a beautiful lady! Luli had seen many pretty ladies, but he could not help exclaiming, "This lady was a masterpiece, a perfect work of art." Feather Race females were beautiful and the males were handsome. But that did not fit Luli's taste. He felt that she was of a different race, not of his own kind. She was like a fox spirit with a tail. No matter how enchanting she was, not many men would have the courage to lay their hands on her. Men would not have so much lust when they saw the tail. This princess of the Feather Race was different. She had wings as well, but she was more like a goddess that had descended from heaven. She had a perfect body and stunning looks. Even Luli could not help but exclaim in admiration. Of course, admiration did not mean that he was moved. Luli was just admiring her. He knew very well that they were enemies of blood that could not be resolved. Still, he was curious. He thought about it and asked, "Princess 5, nice to meet you. I am curious. How come you look like a human? How come you can speak the human language?" "It is simple." Yini Shang smiled and said, "Because my mother is a human and she is a young lady of the immediate Yi family of the tumulus of universe. Theoretically speaking, Yi Luo is my cousin." "What?" Chapter 920. There was indeed a young lady from the Yi clan who went missing. She went missing when she entered the small battlefield to fight against the alien races. It caused quite a stir. Actually, that young lady was kidnapped by a prince of the Yi clan. He brought her back to the land of the West Feather and became the prince's favorite concubine. At that time, the Yi clan was aware of the situation and tried to rescue them, but they failed. The Yi clan could not bring themselves to do that. They could only say that the young lady was missing and dead. The prince of the Yi clan treated the young lady very well. He did not torture her or force her. He only put her under house arrest and kept trying to please her. After 10 years, the young lady never agreed. One time, after getting drunk, the prince raped the young lady of the Yi clan and gave birth to Yini Shang. When Yini Shang was 5 years old, the young lady of the Yi clan was depressed for many years. She missed her homeland and felt ashamed of the Yi clan. She died of illness, leaving Yini Shang alone. The young lady of the Yi clan gave her this name herself. It meant that she was dancing in the night and was very sad. Yini Shang did not have her mother to protect her. The prince of the Yi clan was busy fighting for the throne. Therefore, Yini Shang's childhood was very sad. She was often bullied by her siblings. She was a mixed blood and looked like her mother. She was treated as an alien and grew up being laughed at. Yini Shang liked to wear a cloak since she was young. She covered her face so that the Yi clan would not see her human face and that she was a mixed blood. She was self-reliant since she was young. Although the young lady of the Yi clan passed away when she was 5 years old, she taught her a lot. She did not remember much. However, there was one thing she remembered very clearly. She had to be strong so that she could control her own life. The young lady of the Yi clan was kidnapped by the prince of the Yi clan because she was not strong enough. Therefore, she kept instilling this idea into her daughter since she was young. Yini Shang was very talented. She cultivated and learned crazily since she was young. She absorbed all kinds of knowledge and learned all kinds of abilities. She thought of ways to make herself strong so that she could not be bullied and control her own life. She was always stronger than the princes and princesses. Her knowledge and strategy were always better than theirs. She never fought for favor or relied on others. Everything she had today was earned by her own hand. After becoming the first elder of the Feather Clan, Yinishang thought that she could control her own life, and that no one in the Featherland of the West could threaten her. Unfortunately, Luli was here. Yinishang actually did not hate the human tribe, because her mother who loved her the most was from the human tribe. Moreover, she was very interested in the human race and liked to pay attention to the news of the human race. She had been paying attention to the news of the human race. Naturally, she was no stranger to Luli. She even knew everything about Luli since he was a kid. She admired this chosen warrior of the human race. She felt Luli was similar to her. They both climbed up step by step with their own abilities. When they were young, they were lonely and went through endless trials and tribulations. But they were unyielding and never bowed down. However, although she admired Luli and was related to him by blood, she didn't want to compromise or ask for peace. She smiled faintly and said proudly, "Palace Master Lu, although half of my blood is human, I have nothing to do with the human race. I am representing the Feather race and I am the chief patriarch of the Feather race. If you want to attack the Valley of Feather, if you want to defile the God of Wings, then Nishang will have to lead the Feather race and fight to the end. We will not stop until one of us dies." Feather race females were usually tall and well-developed. Yinishang, like human females, was delicate. But at the moment, she was bursting with energy and her purple wings were glowing. She was like a goddess of war, which boosted the morale of many Feather race warriors. "Cousin of Yi Luo," Luli murmured to himself. Soon, a glint of coldness rose in his eyes. Yinishang had made herself clear. She was representing the Feather race. This was a war between the two races. There was no room for sentiment. His grandpa was still trapped in there. Calming down, Luli said coldly, "Release the patriarchs of the demon-slaying hall and surrender to me. I will spare you all. Otherwise, I will kill you all." There was no room for negotiation. Yinishang was filled with fighting spirit. She waved her hand and said, "Feather race warriors are never afraid of death. Human, since you have chosen to fight, then we will have to fight to the end. Listen up, Charge." The master of the Feather race had passed away. Before a new master took over, the chief patriarch had the highest authority among the Feather race. Though they were afraid of Luli, many Feather race warriors flew toward Luli out of instinct when Yinishang gave the order. Swish, swish, millions of Feather race warriors launched their attacks. All of them shot out Xian energy. It was a magnificent scene. Millions of streaks of Xian energy flew toward Luli from three sides, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Average warriors would have been scared out of their wits. Luli would not be concerned no matter how many there were. His bead of life glowed. A small feather wind castle came out. He was going to fight against the millions of attacks. Boom, boom, boom. The Xian energy landed on the feather wind castle. The walls of the feather wind castle collapsed but soon recovered. At the same time, inside the feather wind castle, there were many feather wind weapons dancing around, smashing the Xian energy. The castle had stopped the endless stream of Xian energy. Lu Li's feather wind was endless. This was not his own strength, but the force in heaven and earth. The average warrior's attacks were not strong. Many of them could not even break down the walls of the feather wind castle. Lu Li could stop them easily. Boom, boom, boom. Many other attacks landed on the dragon demon. However, it was like mud smashing on an iron plate. Not only did the attacks not inflict any harm to the dragon demon, but the dragon demon did not even tremble. Dragon demon, attack! Tear apart all the feather race warriors! Lu Li shouted. He gave the order to attack through the spiritual connection between him and the dragon demon. The dragon demon did not have a high level of intelligence. That being said, it could understand Lu Li's order. The dragon demon roared into the sky and dashed on. Hoot, hoot, the dragon demon's roar and the strong energy it released made many feather race warriors fall from the sky. They fell like mosquitoes. The tens of thousands of feather race warriors nearby could not move anymore. Bang, bang, bang! The dragon demon was not as slow as before. The mountain-like dragon demon dashed into the feather race warriors at once. With a swing of its claws, dozens of feather race warriors were reduced to a mist of blood. With a swing of its tail, hundreds and thousands of feather race warriors were reduced to a mist of blood as well. The dragon demon was unstoppable. Whoosh, Yini Shang and the three patriarchs had retreated to the rear of the army. They did not stop and flew toward the Mountain of Wings. By the time they arrived at the Mountain of Wings, the dragon demon had killed at least 10,000 feather race warriors, and the number was still increasing. It was a horrifying scene. The three patriarchs were shocked. Yini Shang, on the other hand, remained calm. She murmured, "What should be done has been done. Now it is up to the will of the heavens. The Almighty God of Wings, please protect your people through this calamity and kill the human master." Chapter 9:21. Hoot, hoot, bang, 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 bang. The dragon demon was unstoppable. Wherever it went, there was no one to stop it. The dragon demon's attacks were so sharp that it didn't even have to use its skills to trap people, for there were simply too many feather race warriors. Its massive body charged into the midst of the harpy army, ramming them to death. With a swipe of its claws and a sweep of its tail, swathes of harpy soldiers were slaughtered. Not a single one of its soldiers was able to withstand a single blow from it. Even though the feather race soldiers were terrified, Yini Shang's prestige among the feather race had been very high recently. She stood on the Mountain of Wings with a group of royal family elders, watching. Thus, for the time being, no one dared to retreat or flee. All they could do was charge forward like moths to a flame and perish. The dragon demon did not wander around. It killed the feather race warriors outside the valley. The dragon demon was so fast that it was like a tiger dashing into a flock of chicks. No matter how many chicks there were, the dragon demon could kill them all. 1.5 hours. In merely the time it took for 2 incense sticks to burn, there were mountains of corpses and rivers of blood outside the valley. He did not know the exact number of casualties, but it was obvious that more than 200,000 had died. 200,000 harpies. If someone were to chop at them one by one, their arms would go numb and their weapons would buckle. But in the time for 2 incense sticks to burn, he had been killed. Not only were the feather race warriors shocked, even Lu Li was shocked. Lu Li didn't act rashly. He just stood where he was. Yini Shang gave Lu Li a sense of danger. This princess of the feather race was only at the initial stage of the Earth Immortal realm, but her calm demeanor reminded Lu Li of someone, the most powerful young lady of the Samsara Palace, Ji Mengtian. Lu Li never belittled any girl. How could a mixed-blood human and feather race at such a young age become the chief patriarch of the feather race, the de facto ruler of the feather race? This proved that this woman was extraordinary. The Valley of Feather was the holy land of the feather race, and the Mountain of Wings was the place where the god of wings was worshipped. Yini Shang and the others didn't run away. Instead, they sent the feather race warriors to their death. Lu Li would not believe that they were not up to something. Therefore, Lu Li was taking his time. Lu Xingyang and the others would not be in danger for the time being. He would tell the dragon demon to kill every single one of the 10 million if they did not retreat. Once all of the harpies were killed, all of their schemes would be useless, right? Lu Li stood on the side and looked on coldly. He did not feel sorry for the feather race warriors dying one after another. Yini Shang was willing to let them die, so why wouldn't he? Most of the harpies' soldiers and experts were gathered here. If they were all killed, the harpies would be finished. Bang, bang, bang. Time moved on. More and more feather race warriors were dying. Blood had converged into a river, flowing out from the ground under Lu Li. The dragon demon was soaked in blood. Dead bodies of the feather race were piled up around the dragon demon. The smell of blood was so strong that it was nauseating. An hour later, nearly 1,000,000 harpies had been killed, and the harpy army was finally beginning to feel fear. This was not a battle to kill the enemy. This was simply throwing their lives away. No one wanted to die. Even the royal guards, who were the most loyal to the royal family, were cowering at this moment. That dragon demon was horrifying. So many people had been attacking for such a long time, and yet, not a single scale of the dragon demon was cracked. There was no point in continuing, other than courting death. Woo woo, from the mountain of wings came the sound of horns, 3 long ones and 2 short ones. The warriors felt bitter when they heard the horns. It was an order from the feather race to attack. However, the order was not for them to attack the dragon demon, but the leader of the enemy, Luli. One of Luli's spiritual beasts was already hard to kill. How could the leader of the human race, someone that even the Asmodean Lord could not defeat, be so easy to kill? That being said, the dragon demon had been following orders for many years. What was more, the dragon demon believed that if Luli was killed, would the spiritual beast die at once. The royal guards were the first to take action. Hundreds of thousands of warriors whooshed toward Luli, followed by several other warriors. In total, over 1,000,000 warriors were charging toward Luli from all sides. Luli did not think so. They wanted to capture the leader first? The feather race must be capable of that. Besides, Luli was strong physically and he was wearing a quasi-relic armor. It would be hard for them to kill him even if he just stood there and let them blast at him. Luli did not let his guard down. He activated the Feather Wind Castle at once. At first, he did not make the Feather Wind Castle cover an area with a radius of more than 30 miles. Just like before, he created a small Feather Wind Castle with a radius of 1 mile. For one thing, it would be easier to control the castle. For another, he could lure the Feather Race warriors to come closer so that he could kill them all at once. Boom, boom, boom. Countless Xian energy flew over and landed on the Feather Wind Castle. The walls were cracking, but they were repaired by Luli over and over again. Luli was not harmed one bit. Naturally, long-distance attacks would be weaker. Therefore, the Feather Race warriors began to move closer. When they were 3 miles away from Luli, the space trembled. Then, a super-large Feather Wind Castle appeared, covering an area with a radius of more than 3 miles. The 400,000 to 500,000 Feather Race warriors were all inside. Seeing the warriors in front of them being devoured, Luli felt a huge beast suddenly dashed out from the void and swallowed the hundreds of thousands of warriors. Retreat! The rest of the warriors retreated in fear. But they did not go far. Soon, they saw something that terrified them. The Feather Wind Castle was floating in midair. Many people were falling down. Those were the Feather Race warriors. All of them had their heads smashed. They fell down like headless flies. Bang, 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 bang. Like it was raining, headless corpses fell to the ground. Almost every second, there would be dozens of corpses falling to the ground. Therefore, when the Feather Race warriors looked over, they were shocked. It was as if there were many people throwing bodies down from the sky. Bang, bang, bang. From the ground came a series of muffled sounds. Bodies fell to the ground. Blood was still gushing out from the necks of many bodies. It was raining blood in midair. A gust of wind blew over. The strong smell of blood almost made many Feather Race warriors throw up. The time for one incense stick to burn. In the same time, more than 100,000 headless bodies fell to the ground. Luli's killing speed was no slower than that of the dragon demon. The cooperation between Luli's Feather Wind Castle and Feather Wind weapons was too powerful. It was no different from a massacre. Since they were both killing, the speed should be about the same. After the time for 3 incense sticks to burn, the Feather Wind Castle vanished. Luli stood in midair calmly. He glanced at the warriors around to see if they would continue to court death. Woo woo woo. From the Mountain of Wings came another long bugle call. The warriors around Lu Li were in despair. The order was to kill the enemy's commander at all costs. Anyone who dared to retreat would be killed without mercy. The morale of the Feather Race warriors had dropped to zero. Many warriors lost all hope when they heard the bugle call. Some of the Feather Race warriors screamed and dashed toward Lu Li. They did not attack. Instead, they closed their eyes. Clearly, they were here to court death. Something is not right, Lu Li frowned. Something must be wrong. Why would Yi Nishang send so many low-level warriors to their deaths? It was pointless. Human wave tactics were useless against him and the dragon demon. Chapter 922. Yi Nishang seemed to be normal. She did not look like someone with a mental problem. Also, Lu Xingyang and so many Earth Immortal Realm warriors were trapped. This proved that Yi Nishang was not only mentally sound, but also very smart. Over the years, Lu Li had been tricked many times. Last time at the Ocean Land of the East, he was almost tricked. In addition, his sister was an expert in swindling people. Under the influence of what he saw and heard, he had some understanding of these tricks. As he continued to kill, he scanned the surroundings with his divine thoughts. At the same time, he was thinking about how Yi Nishang would trick him. Without a doubt, he and the dragon demon could defeat any powerful warrior of the Feather Race. There could not be anyone more powerful than him and the dragon demon. Otherwise, Lu Xingyang and the others would not only be trapped but all dead. Since he couldn't rely on an expert to kill him, he could only rely on the formation. The reason why he didn't recklessly enter the Feather Valley was because he was afraid of being trapped by the formation. He didn't know much about array formations and restrictions, but he had seen some of them and more or less understood some of their principles. Any formation required energy and a formation foundation. It was impossible to create a formation out of thin air. Formation. Lu Li used psychic power to check underground but found no formation stones. He frowned. How could he build formations without formation stones? One after another, the Feather Race swarmed over, but they were all trapped by his Feather Wind Castle and killed by the Feather Wind weapons. In this short period of time, another 100,000 harpies had been killed. After much deliberation, Lu Li was still worried. He let Kumang out. Dispersing the feather wind around him, Lu Li asked, "Kumang, do you think it is possible to build a powerful formation of destruction without formation stones and foundation?" It's basically impossible because a formation without a formation base is usually not too stable, and its lethality is naturally not that great. Unless the energy used by the other party is extremely terrifying. In that case, there's no need for the support of the array foundation. Kumang casually mentioned the formation. After all, he was a grandmaster in this field. He scanned the area below him with his divine will and asked, "Is the Saint Leader afraid that the winged race will surround and kill you?" Lu Li nodded and asked Kumang to check the surroundings just in case. Kumang didn't dare to be careless. He immediately scanned the ground, and after confirming that there were no formation stones, he relaxed slightly. However, after observing for a moment, he murmured in bewilderment, "Something's not right." The direction in which the blood converges into a river seems to be very orderly. It seems to contain some kind of formation? Blood. Lu Li's pupils contracted in fear. He used psychic power to check. Sure enough, the blood of the Feather Race warriors he killed had converged into a trickle and formed a small river. At this moment, he was high up in the sky, looking down from above. The rivers of blood crisscrossed like a spider web. Something is definitely wrong. There's something wrong with the river of blood. Lu Li nodded with certainty. He had figured out why Yi Nishang would send so many Feather Race warriors to their death. Yi Nishang was not stupid. She would not let the Feather Clan soldiers die for nothing. She needed the blood of the Feather Clan soldiers to set up a strange formation. Kumang had said that it would be difficult to set up a powerful killing formation without a formation base, but it would be possible if the formation was especially powerful. The blood itself contained powerful energy. Over 1 million feather race warriors, all of them accomplished cultivators, would gather their blood and use a special skill to set up a powerful killing formation. When their blood was pooled together, they could use a special skill to build a formation of destruction. By then, Luli and the dragon demon would be in big trouble. Now that he had found the source of the problem, Luli had to solve it. He told the dragon demon to come back through spiritual link. At the same time, he told the dragon demon to run around nearby, leaving many cracks and pits on the ground. Luli was trying to destroy and change the flow of the blood. In this way, he could crack the formation invisibly. However, what surprised Luli was that as the dragon demon ran around, the ground nearby would be covered with deep pits and cracks would appear on the ground. That being said, the flow of the blood did not change. Some of the blood was even floating above the pits. It was strange, the formation is about to be completed. We cannot break it with brute force. Kumang was worried. His eyes flickered as he used psychic power to check the blood flow. He was trying to find a way to crack the formation. Luli raised his eyebrows and said, "Should we leave now? The formation is not complete yet. We can leave easily, can't we?" "We cannot." Kumang forced a smile. "The space nearby has been frozen by some invisible force. If we force our way out, the formation will be activated earlier. This formation is strange. I don't think it is from the Heaven Reverse universe." Luli was taken aback. He used psychic power to check the surroundings. In the distance, he saw some ripples in the space, as if an area with a radius of hundreds of miles had been sealed off. "Do you have the confidence to crack the formation? If not, we will kill our way into the Valley of Feather," Luli said again. "To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader." When Yini Shang and the powerful warriors of the Feather race were killed, the formation would collapse on its own. Yes. Even though Kumang was worried, his tone was confident. "The formation is not complete yet. The energy is not gathered yet. Saint Lord, don't kill the Feather race yet. I will take a look and then I will crack the formation." "Okay." Luli trusted Kumang because Kumang had never disappointed him. Kumang was not one to brag. If he was so confident, then he must be fine. Luli told the dragon demon to stand under him. He used the Featherwind Castle to knock out all the warriors nearby. They fell down one by one. He did not kill anyone. "I have been found out. A human leader is really something." On the God of Wings mountain, after Yi Nishang received the report from the scout, a trace of pity appeared on her beautiful face. She had been planning this for a long time. She was about to succeed, but Luli stopped. Clearly, he had seen through her plan. "Chief Patriarch, what do we do now?" The 3 patriarchs were worried. They did not know how powerful Yi Nishang's formation was. However, Yi Nishang did say that it could trap Luli for half a year, if not kill him easily. "What are you talking about?" The 3 princes clearly did not know about Yi Nishang's plan. The second prince murmured in surprise, "Do you have something planned? You want to trap and kill Luli? Are you sure?" "Trap and kill Luli? Sure." The first prince's face lit up with excitement as he continued, "Fifth sister, aren't you most proficient in formations and restrictions? Build a formation to kill Luli. If we can kill him, the human race will be in chaos." "Shut up." Yi Nishang threw him a cold glance. The eldest prince was intimidated by Yi Nishang. He touched his nose in embarrassment and said nothing more. "We will have to do it in advance." Chapter 923. At Yi Nishang's order, the hidden warriors sprang into action. 4 Earth Immortal Realm warriors flew to Luli's front, back, left and right. After taking up their positions, the 4 of them pulled out some array stones and struck the ground with them. As one array stone after another was inserted into the ground, the rate at which the rivers of blood flowed increased. What? Luli and Kumang noticed something was wrong at once. Luli glared at Kumang and asked, "Do we kill them?" "No." Kumang smiled confidently. "If the formation is in place, I might be afraid of them. But now, it is not so easy for them to take action earlier than planned." Kumang's hand glowed as many formation stones appeared. He turned to Luli and said, "Saint Lord, I will go down. Please let the dragon demon protect me for a while. I will go and crack the formation." "You don't have to go down." Luli smiled. "Where do you want to go?" "I will go with you. You will be safe in my Featherwind Castle." "Thank you, Saint Lord." Few at the Great Land could have the honor of being protected by Luli. Kumang was excited. He threw the formation stones downward. He was much faster than the 4 Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warriors, and he was more skilled at cutting. Whoosh, 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 Luli flew around with Kumang, while Kumang kept throwing out formation stones. Luli followed him all the way. Anyone that dared to come close would be enveloped by the Featherwind Castle. They would pass out and fall to the ground like dead pigs. The 4 Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warriors were prepared to die. Little did they know that Luli didn't care about them at all. That dragon demon stood where it was, allowing the Feather Race warriors to attack it. What? The Featherwind Castle could isolate psychic power. The 4 Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warriors did not know what was going on inside the Featherwind Castle. That being said, they could see streaks of white light bursting into the ground from time to time. After flying for a while, they looked down at the ground, only to find that they were formation stones. What is Luli doing? Is he trying to build a formation to protect himself? The 4 Earth Immortal Realm warriors were confused. That being said, it was better that Luli didn't care about them. They had all heard about the blood formation. If it was activated, Luli could build dozens of formations and he would not be able to protect himself. He wants to build formations now? A last-minute effort? Too late. An Earth Immortal of the Feather Clan thought contemptuously. He moved even faster with the formation stones in his hand. As a matter of fact, they were not afraid that Luli would stop them from building the formation. The formation could still be activated even if some formation stones were destroyed. It was just that the power would be weakened. The 4 Earth Immortal Realm warriors had been building formation stones. In such a short time, tens of thousands had been built. It was too late for Luli to destroy the formation stones even if he wanted to. Woo woo, the sound of a bugle horn echoed through the air. The Harpy army outside the valley reacted, as if they had been granted amnesty. They surged into the Valley of the Feather like a flood, disappearing into the thick white fog. Is it about to open? Kumang smiled and took the initiative to explain to Luli, "Saint Lord, don't worry. I have finished building the internal formation. This formation alone can crack their incomplete formation. They haven't activated it yet. I'll set up another outer array. This time, I'll make them despair." Luli nodded and flew on with Kumang. Countless formation stones were put down. Kumang alone was faster than the other 4. "Open it. Luli, let's see how you die this time." After a moment, a Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior finished putting down all the formation stones. He suddenly shouted and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face paled. He trembled and fell to the ground. PFF, the other 3 Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warriors, suffered the same fate. They all spat out blood. Their breaths were weakening. It was as if they had aged by hundreds of years. They could not even stand up. The blood of the 4 Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warriors was ignited. Rays of light rose from the ground. The blood river surged as if it was boiling under high temperature. The blood river flowed like blood dragons slithering on the ground. A surge of horrifying energy covered an area with a radius of more than 3 miles. Space was completely confined. Swish, swish. A blood river suddenly leaped up from the ground, like a blood-red dragon that was about to soar into the sky. At the same time, from all sides, countless blood dragons soared up and intertwined with each other. They seemed to be forming a huge blood-red cage to trap Luli, the dragon demon, and Kumang inside. Rise! A ray of Xian energy glowed in Kumang's hand as he poured Xian energy down. The ground began to glow. Then, a white mist spread out and filled up the entire space. What? The four-feather race Earth Immortal Realm warriors opened their eyes and stared at the blood formation in confusion. According to Yi Nishang, the formation would not produce a white mist. Was there something wrong? White mist. There were scouts gathering information outside the Valley of Feather. Every once in a while, someone would go and report to Yi Nishang. She was astonished to hear the report. She had built the blood formation several times. Even though it was only in a small area, nothing went wrong, not to mention the appearance of white mist. Can it be? Yi Nishang suddenly had a bad feeling. Previously, Luli had seen through the formation and stopped the killing. Now, something had happened. Could it be that Luli was a master of formations as well? Was he trying to crack the formation with a formation? I didn't read anything about Luli knowing anything about inhibition formations. Also, I have been learning about inhibition formations since I was a kid, and it has been 15 years. The blood formation was taught to me by that person. How can it be cracked so easily? Yi Nishang was not convinced. She flew up toward the entrance of the valley. She wanted to see with her own eyes how her formation could be cracked so easily. The three patriarchs were confused. Fearing that Yi Nishang might be hurt, they followed her. The three princes followed her. They arrived at the entrance of the Valley of Feather, but none of them dared to go out. Swish, swish, in the distance, many blood dragons rose from the ground and intertwined with each other in midair, forming a prison of blood that covered an area with a radius of more than 3 miles. The four-feather race Earth Immortal Realm warriors were inside. However, the prison of blood was filled with white mist. It was impossible to see inside. Not even psychic power could go in. The blood on the ground was gathering together and surging into the prison of blood. When all the blood was in the prison, the formation would be complete. Everything was normal. The only abnormal thing was that there was a white mist inside. Yi Nishang took a closer look. Her eyes were filled with confusion. After a moment, her pupils contracted and she trembled. She looked bitter. She shook her head and murmured, "I have underestimated the heroes in the world. Luli really is not an average person. The blood formation has been broken." Swish, swish, the white mist within the array suddenly condensed, forming white mist dragons. Then, the white mist dragons and the blood dragons intertwined. There was a problem with the direction that the blood dragon was moving in. The entire formation suddenly exploded, and blood rained down from the sky. The sky was dyed blood red, and it was a ghastly sight. The blood formation was cracked. P.S. Tomorrow morning I will go to Shanghai for the Forbes list ceremony. All the famous figures of Yuan will be there. It was said that Hu Guo, Zhang Tianai, and Li Yifeng were invited. It was a grand occasion and the schedule was tight. Therefore, there was no time to write for the next 4 to 5 days. Over the past few days, Yi Nishang had worked overnight to save several chapters. He would not stop writing. But he did not have too many chapters. He would only write 2 or 3 chapters a day. He might be missing some chapters. He would make up for them when he came back. He still had 6 chapters to go. After this conference, he would be free at the end of the year. He would pay off all the chapters he owed. Well, he would write 3 chapters today and tomorrow. Otherwise, he would not have enough chapters. Chapter 924. Well done, Kumang. Luli shouted with satisfaction when he saw the blood dragon slaughter formation that seemed to contain the power of a god. He was generous with his compliments. "It's all thanks to Saint Lord's blessings." Commang bowed and said, "This formation is very powerful. If I hadn't discovered it early and set it up, I wouldn't have been able to break it. The Harpies have formation experts, so be careful." "Okay, I understand. Go into the wicked bead now." Luli nodded and put Commang back into the wicked bead. Turning to the dragon demon, Luli gave an order through spiritual link: tear the four of them apart. The dragon demon was not intelligent, but it had a spiritual connection with Luli. After a period of cooperation, the dragon demon could understand Luli's simple commands. Hoot hoot. His mountain-like body sprinted forward, and in a flash, he had arrived in front of an earth immortal from the Feather Clan. He raised his paw and slammed it down on the Feather Clan Earth Immortal. Boom! The Feather Clan Earth Immortal warrior had just spat out a large amount of blood to activate the Blood God killing array. He was extremely weak at the moment and could not dodge the attack at all. He was smashed into the ground and turned into a pile of minced meat. Whoosh! The dragon demon went after the other 3 Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warriors. The other 3 Earth Immortal Realm warriors wanted to run. However, they were too weak to even stand up. How could they escape from the dragon demon? In the time for a dozen breaths, the 3 Earth Immortal Realm warriors were smashed to death. Luli turned to the Valley of Feather. All the warriors had retreated to the Valley of Feather. The valley was shrouded in mist. Yini Shang and the others had retreated to the Mountain of Wings. All the powerful Feather Race warriors were on guard, ready for battle. Looks like there's more to it. Luli used psychic power to check. Outside the Valley of Feather was only the first level. He and Commang had cracked the blood formation, so they had passed the first level. The Valley of Feather must be the second level. Yi Luo's cousin is very powerful. Luli had a whole new level of respect for the Feather Race. After all, he was not a purebred Feather Race. Take the Lu family for example. If a Lu family disciple captured a demon race woman and gave birth to a child, would that child have a high status in the Lu family? Yini Shang was born in a humble family, but she became the first patriarch of the Feather Race, and she could set up such a horrible killing array. She had even reached the Earth Celestial Realm. Yini Shang could be considered an extraordinary woman. Bang bang bang! Standing on the head of the dragon demon, Luli controlled the dragon demon to walk out of the Valley of Feather. The heavy footsteps of the dragon demon pounded on the hearts of the Feather Race warriors, as if the devil was demanding their lives. The atmosphere in the valley was heavy. Luli stopped outside the valley. His psychic power surged out to check the valley carefully. This valley was huge, and his spiritual force was unable to cover the entire area. Moreover, some of the castles and pavilions had powerful restrictions which prevented him from probing inside. Just now, Luli and the dragon demon had killed over 1 million Feather Race warriors. The remaining 8 million had retreated to the left and right sides of the Valley of Feather. In the middle, there were densely packed castles. After scanning with his divine will, he did not detect many martial artists. The army is concentrated on the left and right sides, and the experts are at the back. This looks like a pocket waiting for me to enter? Luli thought to himself. Then, he built a small feather wind castle and let Commang out. He asked Commang to inspect the valley. Commang was one of his trump cards. Luli built the feather wind castle so that Commang would not be exposed. Luli changed the structure of the feather wind castle so that Commang could have a look outside. After the time for one incense stick to burn, Commang said, "There are some inhibition formations in the valley, but they don't look strong. The strongest one is being activated, the one that trapped Grandpa Lu and the others. This is strange. What is the Feather Race up to?" Commang was well versed in inhibition formations. If he could not tell what was wrong, then there must be no more powerful inhibition formations. That being said, given the blood formation, Luli had to be careful. The Feather Race warriors did not retreat. They retreated into the valley. Average warriors could not hurt Luli and the dragon demon. What was the point of those warriors retreating? Were they going to court death again? Luli thought about it and asked, "Do you have any suggestions on how to prevent them from setting up traps?" "I do have a simple and effective way." Kumang grinned coldly. "Break the formation by force. No matter what tricks they have up their sleeves, I will deal with them by myself. Grandpa Lu and the others are fine for now, so there is no need to worry about them. Saint Lord, you can crack them bit by bit. For example, you can blast open the mountains on both sides and kill the warriors on both sides. You can destroy the castles bit by bit until the entire Valley of Feather is leveled to the ground. Whatever they have up their sleeves, it will be futile." "That makes sense." Luli nodded in agreement after some thoughts. He could deal with all the tricks they had up their sleeve. As long as he took things slow and steady, he could blast open the Valley of Feather bit by bit. In that case, the Feather race would not be able to trap him. Luli put Kumang back and used psychic power to check. Eventually, he noticed the mountain on the left. He controlled the dragon demon to run to the left, leaving many Feather Race scouts staring at him in confusion. Bang, bang, bang! Luli went to the mountain on the left of the valley. The Valley of Feather was surrounded by mountains on 3 sides. The Mountain of Wings at the north was the tallest. The mountains on the left and right were shorter, but they were tall nonetheless. "Dragon demon, break the mountain!" Luli waved his hand. The dragon demon dashed toward the mountain with its strong body. The horn on its head was at the front, ready to smash the mountain with its head. Boom! Mud and stones were flying around. The entire mountain was shaking. Boulders tumbled down. The mountains on 3 sides of the Valley of Feather were connected. Therefore, the 3 mountains were shaking. Standing on the Mountain of Wings, Yi Nishang could feel it clearly. The 3 patriarchs looked at each other with a forced smile. They had guessed something when Luli controlled the dragon demon to go to the left. Luli did not choose to rush in from the front. Clearly, he had seen through something. Chief Patriarch, one of the patriarchs, looked at Yi Nishang solemnly. She waved her hand and said, "We have done everything we can. This is the best we can do. If we cannot kill or trap Luli, then it is the will of the Feather Race. If that is the will of the Feather Race, what is the point of us worrying and struggling? Let's wait and see." The 3 princes were not so sure. As the mountain on the left trembled again and again, the eldest prince said with a pale face, "Sister 5, how about we retreat? Where there's life, there's hope, right?" "Yes, of course." The other 2 princes agreed. The royal family of the Feather Race had a small world. They could hide in there and enjoy wealth as well. Go if you want to. Chapter 925. Boom, boom, boom. The mountain was falling and the earth was cracking. Boulders were rolling down, gravel was splashing, and dust was rising. The mountain to the left of the Valley of Feather was not small. It had a radius of at least 1,000 feet and a height of 2 miles. Every time the dragon demon charged at the mountain, a huge hole would appear on the mountain. Every time the dragon demon charged at full speed, a hole that could penetrate through half of the mountain would be left behind. Many boulders were rolling down from the mountain. Every time a boulder hit the mountain would shake violently. It was on the verge of collapse. At the foot of the mountain in the valley, millions of warriors were stationed there. They stared at the shaking mountain in fear, fearing that the mountain would collapse and bury them alive. As a matter of fact, even if the mountain were to collapse, those warriors would not be crushed into minced meat. After all, they were warriors and they could fly. The worst that could happen to them was some injuries. That being said, the collapse of the mountain was stressful. Some of the warriors were already in an uproar. If it were not for the fact that their commanders had not given the order to retreat, they would have run away. Boom! The dragon demon charged again. This time, the mountain was shaking even more violently. Finally, from the Mountain of Wings came a bugle call. all the warriors were relieved. They flew toward the plaza in the center of the valley. Boom, 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 boom. Before they arrived at the plaza, they heard a loud noise coming from the left. The warriors turned around and saw that the huge mountain was collapsing. The mountain was sliding, the boulders were falling down, the dust was billowing, and the noise was as loud as thunder. It was a shocking scene. The noise lasted for the time for half an incense stick to burn, but the dust was still there. The mountain had collapsed. Where the warriors were, there were boulders and mud everywhere. It was a mess, a scene of devastation. Hoot, hoot, a roar rang out, and a huge beast shot out from the mud and rock. Its huge wings spread out, covering the sky. The beast raised its head and bellowed. The horrifying energy spread out. Many warriors were trembling again. Whoosh, a white-haired young man flew over from the dust. He stood on the head of the dragon demon. He looked around and waved his hand. The dragon demon dashed forward. Boom, 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 there were many castles and buildings in the Valley of Feather. Wherever the dragon demon went, they all turned into ruins. Many beautiful pavilions, rockery, and ponds were destroyed. That being said, the dragon demon did not run toward the center of the valley. Instead, it dashed around the left side of the valley, as if it was ready to destroy all the castles in this area. The dragon demon bumped into a huge castle. The castle glowed. There was an inhibition formation in the castle that stopped the dragon demon from moving forward. There is indeed a trap, hee. Luli stood on a boulder at the edge of the valley and observed indifferently. The dragon demon leaped up and smashed at the castle with its huge claw after failing to break it. Boom! This time, the castle's barrier couldn't hold on any longer, and the castle was easily smashed into pieces. Two figures flew out from inside, trying to escape toward the central square of the valley. Too late, Luli shook his head with a smile. The horn on the dragon demon's head glowed. Then, a surge of red air spread out from the dragon demon. The two feather race warriors that were trying to escape were frozen in the red air. Hoot, hoot, the dragon demon raised its head and bellowed. It smashed the two powerful feather race warriors to death. The two feather race warriors were quite powerful at the Earth Immortal realm. Even so, they were defenseless against the dragon demon's claws. Hiss, hiss, many warriors gasped. The two feather race Earth Immortal realm warriors were important figures of the feather race. To the feather race, they were almost invincible. How could they be killed by the dragon demon? Boom, 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 after the two feather race Earth Immortal realm warriors were killed, the dragon demon did not stop. It kept on running. Right at that moment, the castles that were not destroyed glowed. 4 Earth Immortal realm warriors flew out and dashed toward the central square. Luli did not take any actions. It was good that the feather race Earth Immortal realm warriors knew to run away. Luli's plan had failed. Luli was not afraid of any feather race warriors that were out in the open. What he was worried about was that they had set up trap. There were thousands of buildings on the left side of the valley. In the time for 2 incense sticks to burn, the dragon demon had flattened them all. There were no more buildings on the left side of the valley. Luli slowly flew over and stood on the head of the dragon demon. He moved closer to the center of the valley. In the center of the valley was a huge square. In the middle of the square was a yellow shield. Lu Xingyang and the others were inside. Outside the yellow shield were many warriors and powerful feather race warriors. The warriors on the left and right sides of the valley had gathered at the central square. They formed circles as if they were trying to stop Luli from rescuing people. Lier, Grand Master. Inside the shield, Lu Xingyang and the others had sensed it. How could they not feel the tremors in the valley? Lu Xingyang and the others were ashamed and guilty when they saw Luli standing on the dragon demon's head. If it were not for the fact that they were greedy, they would not have attacked the feather race. If they were not so greedy, they would not have fallen into the trap and were trapped here. The fact that they were trapped was not a big deal. The 1,000,000 human warriors must have suffered heavy casualties. Those were the elites of the human race. Because of their wrong decision, they died in a foreign land. Deep down, they hoped that Luli could come and rescue them. But when Luli showed up, they blushed and felt embarrassed. A bunch of old guys that had lived for a long time needed a young man to rescue them. Luli did not go to the center of the plaza. He used psychic power to check, and then looked at Yi Nishang, who was on the Mountain of Wings in the north. Those warriors had not left yet. Yi Nishang must have other arrangements. Yi Nishang would not let those warriors die for nothing. She must have something else up her sleeve. What was more, her means required the cooperation of many warriors. Luli was not surprised by this, and he was not afraid of it either. He did not come in from the gate of the valley. Instead, he smashed his way in from the left and destroyed everything in the valley on the left. Even if Yi Nishang could use the 8 or 9 million warriors to launch some kind of attack, it would not be powerful. What surprised him was, Yi Nishang had been standing on the Mountain of Wings. There were only 3 Earth Immortal Realm Patriarchs with her. Was she not afraid that Luli would go to the Mountain of Wings with the Dragon Demon to kill the leader first? After pondering for a moment, he said in a deep voice, "Fifth Princess, I'm already here. Show me what you've got and let me see it for myself. If I'm not wrong, you should have 2 more arrangements, right?" Chapter 926. Unconsciously, Yi Nishang was provoking Luli. There was a trace of arrogance in her words. She was implying that Luli was not qualified to witness her final move yet. If he wanted to see her final killing move, he had to defeat these millions of soldiers. On the surface, Yi Nishang was being arrogant. However, Luli could tell that she was trying to provoke him. Yi Nishang's words had aroused Luli's pride. Did she mean that not even his millions of warriors could break it? Was she trying to provoke him into attacking these millions of soldiers? Humph! Luli sneered to himself. The more he was provoked, the less likely he would fall for it. Didn't Yi Nishang say that he was not qualified to see her last move? He would kill his way to the God of Wings and see if Yi Nishang would show her trump card. Luli was filled with killing intent. He was about to order the Dragon Demon to go with him to the Mountain of Wings and kill Yi Nishang. No, right at that moment, Luli suddenly thought of something. He could not control his emotions and was about to make a rash move. He had completely lost his cool. Was he enraged? Impressive Luli's eyes flickered. Yi Nishang's words contained a double meaning of provocation. Her real purpose was to enrage Luli so that he would attack the Mountain of Wings right now. Yi Nishang stood proudly on the God of Wings mountain with 3 patriarchs. This was a provocation in itself. His words just now were a trap within a trap. An ordinary person would definitely go up to the Mountain of Wings to witness Yi Nishang's final move. Luli's original plan was to take things slow and steady. He would destroy Yi Nishang's plan bit by bit and kill the Feather Race warriors one by one. When there were no more warriors, her plan would be gone. It didn't matter how many Yi Nishang had set up. As such, he couldn't act rashly, especially not by charging right into the enemy's midst. He could only attack from afar and slowly whittle away at the harpy's strength. He almost acted on impulse just now. Although he might not die if he went up there, he could not let Yi Nishang lead him by the nose. He should control the situation himself. After a while, Luli had an idea. He stood where he was and the Dragon Demon did not attack. He took out his bead of life and began to gather feather wind. He had a powerful long-range attack technique, the feather wind weapon. This kind of heavenly weapon had both soul attacks and powerful physical attack. Even an ordinary Earth Immortal could not withstand it, let alone an ordinary soldier. More importantly, the feather wind weapon could attack from a long distance. Although his control would definitely weaken if he was too far away, there was a dense army in front of him, so he didn't need to control it at all. 10, 100, 1,000. When 1,000 feather wind weapons came into being, Luli waved his hands. 1,000 feather wind weapons dashed out. They were as fast as a rainbow. In the blink of an eye, they were outside of the army. Dodge! Dead, I'm going to die. What the hell is this? How can it be so fast? The soldiers hundreds of feet away cried out in alarm. The soldiers in front wanted to dodge, but it was clearly too late. Over 1,000 divine weapons whooshed over and pierced through the phalanx of the Feather Race's army. The dead bodies exploded into a mist of blood. The Feather Wind divine weapons were so powerful that almost no Feather Race soldier could withstand them. Go! When the energy of the 1,000 Feather Wind weapons ran out, Luli made another 1,000. He waved his hand and the 1,000 Xian energy dashed into the phalanx of the Feather Race's army. As the Feather Wind divine weapons passed by, many empty spaces appeared in the Feather Race's army. Those warriors didn't even have the time to scream before they were blasted into a mist of blood. Hiss, hiss, many people used psychic power to check. They realized that Luli had killed over 10,000 Feather Race's army in 2 rounds of attack. At this rate, the 8 million Feather Race's army would be wiped out in no time. Whoosh! Luli's third batch of Feather Wind divine weapons whooshed on. Inevitably, the Feather Race's army became restless. After all, anyone would be scared and panicked if they had to stand around and wait for death. Woo woo! Suddenly, a deep bugle sound could be heard from atop the Godwing Mountain. This was personally blown by an elder. Luli stopped releasing Feather Wind divine weapons. He turned to the Mountain of Wings and said with a smile, "Finally, you can't stand it anymore?" Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as the bugle call was heard, all the Feather Race warriors gathered toward the shield in the center of the plaza. They seemed to be squeezed together, but in fact, they were divided into smaller phalanxes. Looking from the distance, they seemed to have formed a strange formation. Whoosh! From the Mountain of Wings, an Earth Immortal Realm warrior of the Feather Race flew up and stood in midair in front of the army, facing Luli. What is going on? Luli was confused, but he did not dare to take any rash actions. He let Kumang out and asked him to give him some advice. "Saint Lord, I think they are building some kind of formation," Kumang said with uncertainty. Luli could tell that this was a nonsensical question. Luli thought for a while and decided not to wait any longer. He began to generate Feather Wind divine weapons. This time, he made 2,000 and they flew toward the Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior at the front. "Luli, do you think you can kill me that easily? You are dreaming." The Harpy Elder's hand lit up, and a large square shield appeared in his hand. The shield was covered in beautiful inscriptions. The Patriarch's hand glowed as the shield lit up. Luli sensed something familiar. The originator artifact of the Feather Race? Luli was so familiar with it. He could tell right away that this was a weapon of the same level as the originator artifact of Heaven Reverse and Asmodean. It must be the originator artifact of the Feather Race. Buzzing. The shield glowed and formed a yellow shield in front of Luli, shielding the Patriarch and the warriors behind him. Bang 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 bang! The 2,000 Feather Wind divine weapons smashed into the shield. What happened next shocked Luli. All the Feather Wind divine weapons were smashed into pieces, but the shield only trembled a bit. None of the 2,000 Feather Wind divine weapons could break through. I hate originator artifacts. Luli curled his lips, feeling helpless. The originator artifact of the Asmodeans almost made Luli suffer. How could the Feather Race's originator artifact stop the Feather Wind divine weapons? Dragon Demon, tear him apart! Luli waved his hand. The Dragon Demon spread its wings and dashed forward. The originator artifact of the Feather Race was strong. But how many times could it stand against the Dragon Demon? Boom! Like a sharp sword, the Dragon Demon smashed into the yellow light curtain. The light curtain trembled violently but showed no signs of cracking. Hoot, hoot! The Dragon Demon bellowed into the sky. It swung its iron-like tail, which cracked the space. However, such a powerful strike failed to crack the light curtain. Buzzing, right at that moment, from the other side of the shield came out a ray of red light. When the red light enveloped the warriors behind him, something happened. The warriors behind the patriarch of the feather race were affected by the red light. All of a sudden, they became feeble. It was as if the red light had sucked away all their vitality. They collapsed to the ground, unable to move. Whoosh whoosh, more warriors swarmed over. Some of them carried away the feather race warriors that had collapsed on the ground. Some of them were still enveloped by the red light, and then their vitality was sucked away again. The cycle repeated. The shield was glowing brighter and brighter. The patriarch of the feather race behind the shield was growing stronger as well. Oh no! Luli was taken aback. Even Kumang could tell that something was wrong, let alone Luli. The originator artifact of the feather race was strange and intimidating. At this rate, this patriarch of the feather race would grow to a horrifying level. P.S. One less chapter for the past 2 days. 8 chapters in total. Chapter 9:27. Clearly, this was some kind of sorcery. The sorcery was taking energy from others to strengthen itself. It was not just 1 or 2 warriors but a whole group. In such a short time, tens of thousands of warriors had been carried away. The red light covered a wide area. Thousands of warriors were covered at once. The speed of absorption was fast. In the time for a few breaths, the thousands of warriors would be exhausted and could not even stand up. Luli had thought that the originator artifact of the feather race was just a shield with strong defense. He did not expect that it could be so powerful that it could release such sorcery. Those warriors might not be strong. Their energy could not be taken away completely. Even if they could not absorb too much energy. That being said, there were too many warriors. Taking one bit of energy from each of the tens of thousands would be a horrifying number. Luli did not take action at once. He thought quickly. In an instant, dozens of ideas came to his mind. The 2 best options were to leave at once or to break the shield to stop this feather race patriarch from absorbing more energy. This sorcery was too powerful. The side effects must be severe. The feather race patriarch could gain strength for a short time, but his body would not be able to stand it for too long. When Luli took the Slayer's blood, he almost exploded. If it were not for the silver dragon bloodline, he would not be able to use the energy in the Slayer's blood. Even so, he passed out in the end. His life energy was consumed. It took him several months to recover. His hair was still white. If Luli left for a moment, in an hour at most, the feather race patriarch would not be able to stand it anymore. He might even die, let alone pass out. What the patriarch was doing was directly and forcefully absorbing other people's energy. He was no different from a demon. Too many different types of energy in his body would result in a powerful backlash. That was the problem. If Luli left, would the feather race patriarch kill Lu Xingyang and the others in a fit of rage when he could not kill Luli? Lu Xingyang and the others were at their weakest. Once the formation was opened, the feather race patriarch could kill all of them easily. I cannot leave. Soon, Luli made up his mind. He would use another drop of the Slayer's blood. He believed that as long as he used the blood of the Slayer, he could easily kill the elder of the Feather Tribe, no matter how strong he was. The Slayer's blood could not be used easily. Luli did not want to repeat what happened last time. Last time, he was so weak that he was not sure if there were any side effect. How could they stop the Harpy Elder from absorbing more energy? Either they could break through the ancestral artifact's barrier and attack this elder, or they could force him to give up. Luli turned to Yi Nishang at the Mountain of Wings. He made up his mind at once. This time, he had to go even if the Mountain of Wings was filled with dangers. Dragon Demon, follow me! Luli yelled. He gave an order to the Dragon Demon. he flew up toward the mountain of wings. The bead of life under his feet glowed. Countless feather wind whooshed out and formed many feather wind weapons. Hoot hoot! The dragon demon bellowed. It flapped its wings and dashed forward. After a while, the dragon demon stomped on the ground and leaped into the sky. Get down! The Feather Race Patriarch, who was still absorbing energy, was taken aback. He took out a saber and hacked at the sky. A ray of silver light poured out from the saber. It was like the Milky Way was hanging upside down. In an instant, the silver light reached toward Luli. Everywhere the silver light passed by, space would be torn apart. A sense of fatal danger emerged from the depth of Luli's soul. Luli snorted. He was not worried. The wicked bead in his hand glowed as he vanished in midair. The silver light reached over and landed on the wicked bead. Bang! With a muffled sound, the wicked bead did not move one bit. After a glow, the wicked bead flew up into the sky. Well, warriors and powerful Feather Race warriors were in an uproar. Many had never seen the wicked bead. When the Patriarch of the Feather Race released that move, they all thought Luli would be hacked to death. However, such a powerful move could not even move the wicked bead, let alone break it. Luli chose to stay because of the Slayer's blood and because he had something he could count on, the wicked bead. The wicked bead was a relic with a strong defensive ability. Even if the Patriarch's abilities were horrifying, it was unlikely that he could crack the wicked bead. The Patriarch could not last for a long time. The wicked bead contained abundant energy. Back in the days, a group of semi-god realm warriors from the Mage Imperial universe could not crack the wicked bead no matter how hard they tried. Chief Patriarch, the Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior, was taken aback. Yinishang was their hope. If Yinishang was killed, then the Feather Race would be doomed. He knew that Yinishang had another card up her sleeve. That being said, he was still worried. After all, Luli was not an average warrior. He was a human warrior that could defeat the Asmodean Lord. Concern would lead to confusion. The Patriarch made up his mind in an instant. He deactivated the shield and stopped absorbing the warrior's energy. He tried to help Yi Nishang for a moment. Don't stop, you idiot! As soon as he deactivated the shield, Yi Nishang's angry voice came from above. The wicked bead that was flying toward the mountain of wings suddenly came back down. That dragon demon was also coming toward him like a sharp sword. How many battles had Luli been through? He did not rely on others' help. He had fought his way up. His experience was not weaker than many warriors. While he was flying up, he had been paying attention to the Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior with psychic power. Buzzing, the Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior tried to activate the Originator artifact again. However, the wicked bead was too fast. The wicked bead smashed into him like a shooting star. The Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior was smashed to the ground. Though he was not seriously injured, he was dizzy. Hoot, hoot! He had just come back to his senses when the sky above him darkened. A roar pierced his eardrums. A huge claw whooshed over, growing larger in his eyes. Oh no! At the last moment, the Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior poured Xian energy into the shield, trying to activate the Originator artifact to stop the dragon demon. However, as soon as the Originator artifact glowed, the dragon demon's horn glowed. The red airwaves spread out. The Patriarch of the Feather Race could not move anymore. The dragon demon's claw came at him. The dragon demon was as fast as the wicked bead. The dragon demon was right behind Luli. Boom! The Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior and the Originator artifact were smashed into the ground by the dragon demon. The horrifying strength came through the shield. The Patriarch of the Feather Race was crushed into a pulp. The Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior did not absorb much energy. If he could absorb the energy from the millions of warriors, he might be able to survive the dragon demon's attack. Back at the ocean land of the east, the dragon demon was already as strong as a semi-god realm warrior. After consuming so many eggs of the Fey beast, the dragon demon had grown stronger. The patriarch of the feather race had not activated the originator artifact. How could he survive the dragon demon? Alas! Chapter 928. Buzzing. Luli dashed out from the wicked bead. He grabbed the shield, the originator artifact of the feather race, and went back into the wicked bead. The originator artifact was not damaged, and it was quite strong. Luli would not hesitate to take it down. Then, Luli flew the wicked bead around, piercing through the feather race warriors. The dragon demon began its slaughter as well. Luli believed that Yinishang's second layer of defense had been destroyed. Those warriors were no longer a threat. Lu Xingyang and the others should be safe after the feather race warriors were defeated. Hoot, hoot, the dragon demon roared into the sky. Its roar alone had knocked out many warriors nearby. As the dragon demon dashed on, everything it bumped into became minced meat. The dragon demon didn't even need to attack. It could kill many feather race warriors just by dashing on. There were too many feather race warriors here. Woo, woo, a low roar rang out from the Godwing Mountain. The soldiers down below were overjoyed, and they fled in all directions. The order was to retreat, and they were free to do so. It meant that the warriors could run to any place at the Featherland of the West. Luli stopped the wicked bead as the feather race warriors ran away. It was pointless to go after those low-level warriors. He was here to save Lu Xingyang and the others. As long as the powerful feather race warriors were killed, the Featherland of the West would be at his fingertips. The dragon demon wanted to go after them, but Luli stopped it. The millions of warriors left quickly. After all, they were at least at the Fate-Will realm or the Eternal realm. Those that could leave had all left in the time for half an incense stick to burn. Some Earth Immortal Realm and Human Sovereign Realm warriors left as well. It was pointless for those Earth Immortal Realm and Human Sovereign Realm warriors to stay. Hoot, hoot, the dragon demon wandered around, killing all the feather race warriors that were affected by its energy. Luli floated the wicked bead in the air and checked the surroundings with psychic power. They are all gone. Only Yinishang and the two patriarchs of the Earth Immortal Realm are left. Luli nodded. Yinishang was a qualified leader. She knew that those that stayed would only end in death. It was better for them to leave and save some of the feather race's elites and seeds. When the dragon demon killed the remaining warriors, Luli sent psychic power to Lu Xingyang and the others. He dashed out, but he did not order the dragon demon to attack the shield. Yinishang was still on the Mountain of God. Luli did not know that Yinishang was still there. If Lu Xingyang and the others could be saved, would be. Luli had to defeat or kill Yinishang if he wanted to save her. Dragon demon, go! Dragon said. Dragon Li, Dragon Lu, Dragon Li, Dragon demon, Ling Li, Mountain Li Ling, Dragon demon, Mountain. Luli hopped onto the dragon demon's head. He looked at Yinishang, who was standing under the statue of the God of Wings from 2 miles away. Her delicate body and her calm and beautiful face gave Luli mixed feelings. Luli hopped onto the dragon demon's head. He gazed at Yinishang, who was standing under the statue of the God of Wings from a distance of 2 miles. Looking at her delicate body and her beautiful face, Luli had mixed feelings. Under other circumstances, Luli would treat her as his own sister, not to mention being enemies. Unfortunately, they were related. Yinishang was not Yi Luo's cousin, but the current leader of the feather race. There was no right or wrong in the fight between the two races. It was a pity that they were in a relationship now. Yinishang was not Yi Luo's cousin, but the current commander of the Feather Clan. There was no right or wrong in the fight between the two clans, and there was no good or evil. Not many people in the Heaven Reverse universe could force him into such a difficult situation. Not many could be his opponent, not to mention a young lady. The Feather Race was a large organization with tens of millions of powerful warriors. However, the one standing in front of Lu Li was not an old guy or a prince, but a delicate princess. Though this princess was similar to Ji Mengtian in temperament, she was particular in her methods. She set up an open and above-board plan for Lu Li. It was understandable that the two armies were confronting each other. If Lu Li were to die to the blood formation or the originator artifact of the feather race, he would not blame anyone. It was understandable that the two armies were confronting each other. If Lu Li were to die to the blood formation or the originator artifact of the feather race, he would not blame anyone. Of course, at the end of the day, the reason why Lu Li was not hostile to Yi Nishang was that he found her to be somewhat similar to him. How similar was this to when he fought against the Asmodean Lord all by himself? After a moment of silence, Lu Li said, "Yi Nishang, give up. Lead the feather race and surrender to me. I promise that I will not slaughter the feather race for no reason. I can let you continue to be the emperor of the feather race and lead the feather race. How about that?" Lu Li's offer was generous. If it were patriarchs of the Asmodeans, they would have surrendered a long time ago. Yi Nishang smiled a sad smile. Looking at the Valley of Feather, she shook her head and sighed. "Grand Master Lu, your promise is meaningless. Even if you don't slaughter the feather race, the other humans will. Even if you give an order and nobody does anything in the short term, what about 10 or 100 years later? What about when you pass away 10,000 years later? You will be the meat on the chopping block. The feather race will be destroyed sooner or later. Emperor of the feather race. What is the point of being an enslaved emperor of the feather race?" Lu Li thought about it. He believed Yi Nishang was right. Not to mention after he passed away, for years to come, he might not even pay attention to the feather race. Those old guys at the demon-slaying hall would secretly raise their weapons. At the very least, all the feather race warriors would be slaughtered. That was the only way to gain absolute control over the feather race. Lu Li raised his eyebrows. "You don't have to do this. You have done enough for the feather race. If it were not for you, the feather race would have been destroyed a long time ago. Don't forget that half of your blood is human. If you want, I can bring you back to the Yi family. I promise that the Yi family will treat you like a young lady of the immediate family. Don't you want to bring your mother's ashes home? Don't you want to see your grandpa and grandma?" "What?" The two patriarchs of the feather race were taken aback. Lu Li's strategy of sowing discord was brilliant. The person that Yi Nishang respected the most was her mother. If Yi Nishang rebelled, then the feather race would be doomed. Lu Li's words made Yi Nishang's eyes misty. She was on the verge of tears. Lu Li had spoken her mind. Her mother's greatest wish was to go back to the Yi family, to her homeland. Even if her body was to be buried in the city of heaven and earth, her spirit in heaven would be happy. Plop! Yi Nishang suddenly dropped to her knees. She bowed to Lu Li 3 times. The two patriarchs of the feather race were taken aback. They thought Yi Nishang was surrendering. Lu Li sighed. He could tell from Yi Nishang's eyes that she was begging. It meant that she was not surrendering, but begging. As expected, Yi Nishang said solemnly, "Grand Master Lu, my mother's grave is at the fallen Feather Mountain in the east. If I am defeated, please move my mother's grave back to the Yi family. Please tell the Yi family that I am not forgetting that half of my blood comes from the Yi family. But the feather race needs someone. My father is dead and my brothers are useless. I have to sacrifice myself. I will not let anyone in the world look down on the feather race." P.S. For the next couple of days, I will write 2 chapters a day. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.